Hello everyone, this is continuing from part one if you haven't read either any of the books or at least the previous part of the fourth book. So yeah, well I suppose before we get on to it, we could kind of like the transition from the countryside to the city. It's somewhat okay. Uh, Probably could be a bit more transition elements to it, like I don't know, just going from that to like a high up building. Yeah, I think it's a bit snappy. I like the shape of the trees though. Although if this is the city, I thought it was meant to take place in the town. That's a bit odd. Although I reckon this was carried over from that ABBA comic I made. Yeah, going from the countryside to the city, and these trees were just literally added. And the car size I think is okay. I like the drones though from the side because they do have a quite peculiar shape in the storybook. And here there's Dion floating there, so he's bang on in the centre. All right, so yeah, this is yeah, Pod is kind of getting dragged to Mechadraw. That's the only other thing happening in Time for reasons. Is still down at the Deep Fortress, and yeah, so Zamin, Nicole, and Mike they got hold of Dion and they're about to wake him up. So let's see.
Tilda Chapter 52, Waking Up. Back on Earth, an hour after the heist, Retron sees the defense.
An hour. Because you wouldn't. Mm, did they go for a much further away kind of location then?
Is getting released into the open world, and the production of the defenses is getting quicker at a point where the newly collected stars are in need.
What was that? So, okay, so they start to get all right, so just start to get released. Okay, open world and the production of the defenses is all getting. Uh, oh, okay. Wow, that's a quick production. Did they manage to get hold of other people to hire? Probably. I don't know. An hour later, maybe. Oh, I don't know if this is like the following day or not. It's well, hang on, later in the day, and then okay, no, maybe everything has just been under one day, and maybe since Retron's announcement and the presentation of it, I bet yeah, a bit word spread quickly about the well, whether it was just a base or maybe there was many vacancies open. Yeah, should have been clarified.
However, some servicemen take the knocked out serviceman to Retron, someone who is waking up after being stunned. After being
Yeah, if this was an hour later, then yeah, fair enough, and yeah, the soldier must have been isolated enough at a point where wasn't discovered until later. But it's good to account for that serviceman and to see the repercussions. And yeah, Retron and the others become quite curious as well. And yeah, so someone to take out the knocked out serviceman to Retron. Someone, yeah.
shocked by this, Retron considers this being the Legion, wondering where they are. And even others.
Um, I suppose yeah, if it's just like that area, especially this area isn't very accessible to the public. So yeah, I can see the inference. Not to mention if it's getting Dion out, who else would be able to do that? Yeah.
Serviceman after checking the room where Diane is supposed to be a report that Diane's body is missing. So Retron.
Oh yeah, checking the room in person. Yeah. Maybe Mike did keep up the camera feeds only to be like, wait a minute. Um, um, yeah. I just wanted to tell Mike managed to do that because would it be just connected or would it be internet? Who knows? After checking, even other servicemen after checking this room, and Dion is supposed to be a report. Yeah. Okay.
Orders a search party to find both the Legion and Diane, already having ideas where the
Walters both, but yeah, they should all be in one spot. But if Dion doesn't get found for ages, like with servicemen all around the planet potentially, I think they could be like, well, I think he's gone. But yeah, because even why didn't the Legion? Oh, I don't know. They did try and go for like a well hidden place. They could have gone for a cave instead. Well, maybe if that was like a risk of being dangerous, but um, but what Dion was getting over the top anyway. Um, But regardless, Legion, there was no ideas where Legion could be, somewhere barren. Well, any various locations. Well, at least it's not public areas, so yeah.
Legion could be somewhere barren. The Legion has reached a barren area, and they need to bring back Diane as soon as possible, and then generate a new craft.
I wonder if it's specified what kind of location. Yeah. Anyway, apparently, need to bring back Diane as soon as. Yeah, definitely as soon as possible because because the universe is in trouble. So yeah.
Or a new automaton, up into space. They have an idea.
Oh yeah, because I think the Eurotone would be trapped in the base, but you don't want to get that impression that the Legion done something and then flew off because especially if Bretron is the one with all the task. So yeah, to create another Atone elsewhere, it's an idea that's quite sensible actually. Yeah, that's something that we're going to definitely infer. And because I remember the original Awesome Atone suddenly gets destroyed in the flooding, so whatever Atone stuff is happening will be the Zami generated ones. Because it would be kind of a shame to well no it is like generally a shame to lose the original craft, but if you can just easily make one, then it's less of a problem. Anyway, let's go.
To go to the Titanrans. Thanks to prior research using.
I think that was kind of stated earlier. Oh, wait, no, I think the only other mention was the Arvin thing, but they thought, yeah, okay. I reached the barren area, need to go back as soon as possible, generate a new craft. Actually, no, because I don't think the Legion, I think they may have kept an open mind, we'll wait and see, but, I don't think they expected Dion to be hostile or at least trying to catch up, so. Yeah, if they did go to a cave, then yeah, Dion could just pop itself out and fly off, and the Legion would still be half hidden. Because when you go into a cove or a cave, especially like a deep one, for instance, Paul's Cavern, wherever that is, very complex. I think Heights of Abraham have them too, and there's a place in, oh gosh, was it Manchester? Uh, Oh gosh, the 1962 film A Taste of Honey, they go down to a cavern too, and because what's that set in Manchester? It's kind of bothering me right now actually. I want to correct it. A Taste of Honey, or maybe where was it filmed? 1962. Oh yeah, Manchester and Stockport. Okay. Um. So yeah, okay. Right, and then. Okay. Just double checking the craft up to space. Yep, so they're going to space first thing, and the idea to go to Titanrans. I wondered what I think it's explained why they did go for the Titanrans because because they could be like rather cynical too. You don't know how much the cube storm has affected their world, but it's one of the better choices, I suppose. Anywhere but Earth. Thanks to prior research using the GPS, which they have recorded a location elsewhere. The Titran planet, okay. And if one of the original vehicles were destroyed, so that wouldn't be maintained. But anyway, at least I got the location.
The GPS, which they have recorded the location of elsewhere. They know where to go, even if it's a long way with the use of light speed. The Titanrans might be the race who.
They must have done a lot of research, especially well enough to remember which direction to go, unless that's what they copied over from the GPS. Like for instance, if they did like copy the entire GPS into a vehicle, that's ridiculous. But yeah, if they at least got like the Titran location, well, if you only could like have like one location, why go for that one? Or did they have other locations which they wanted to know off by heart or something? Yeah, I'm a bit lost with that one. Because we're all human. It's not Pod who can like follow the stars or whatever. Maybe. Oh yeah, once Dion's awake, he can help track the Legion to the planet. Yes, okay, that's a good inference at least.
would be the keenest to see the Legion compared to other races. As they reach their destination, they
I'm a bit middling on that choice because the Sotras could be better, and more defended, yeah, because their world can adapt to the damage too. Um, oh gosh, who else would they go for? Even the Tengas actually. They would probably like pick them up and then go ahead. They could have gone from like one planet to the next, although they did go to the Titrans because they already have a proper means of food, and yeah, it's just a much practical location to go for regardless.
manage to get Diane out of the vehicle. Nicole and Mike start to get rattled by Zami again,
Presumably through carrying with cubes again.
telling Zami to be quiet, telling Zami that yes, getting Diane was risky and it could make them more like enemies, but the universe does need Diane. Zami cannot reach the heights of Diane.
Hang on. Telling Zami to be quiet. So was he taking them out in a manner that's too noisy? Why are you getting that, Zami? That's a bit. What's this thing about getting annoyed with Zami? I'm a bit. It's like trying to encourage something that's not quite there, like there shouldn't be. Um, but hopefully they tell him to, in a nicer manner. But also, I don't get this line telling Sammy that yes, getting Dion was at risk and it could make them more like enemies, but the universe does need Dion. Sammy cannot reach the heights of Dion. Dion, after all, is equivalent to the Legion combined, which should have a full stop. Um, I'm a I'm a bit puzzled. Like this sounds like the kind of exchange if Sammy was like wanted to be Dion equivalent to self-friendly for the others to be like no. Maybe the following lines might help with this. Because, yeah, of course it was risky. Yes, he's needed. I'm a bit confused.
Diane, after all, is equivalent to the Legion combined. But when will the Legion become united? Zami's new obsession with power is making
Like in total, even involving Fastnos and Hailwolf. I think they're just like wondering what the status quo is like and wondering how to be like adapt, even if everyone's apart and if everyone's going to be united. I'm getting a bit lost again.
Zami disagreeable with anyone else. Regardless, the Legion has Diane prepared.
That power hungry. He was happy to get hold of Dion. It's not like he, like if he wants an audience, he doesn't want to be the most powerful or top dog. That's like Retron's thing. Maybe there could be like an interesting angle that Retron, involves Zami and Retron could accidentally be two alike. That could be like an interesting arc for them both, perhaps. But Retron and Zami, their rivalry is quite thin. So lost once again.
And thanks to Zami's extra familiarity with his power of cubes, he can get Diane out of his power-off mode compared to when he was first introduced to his power.
I would just explain that they should have collected the star along the way, and Sammy was already given good tips by the Sochers and was able to interact with an element. It doesn't work.
Diane has woken up, but it looks like the goal to make Torrid hostile somehow works because Diane cannot remember anything. He looks blank, and this worries.
Somehow works. So I guess it's come from the leader's perspective, so I can guess they're like, I'm quite scared for what if Torrid's act is somehow carried over, then okay. So maybe it's come from the Legion's perspective, but and maybe like a surprise element as well. I think that's how the somehow could work. Anyway, because Dion could not remember. So yeah, he looks or seems rather robotic. So yeah, I thought like the tension there already, because if he's like the most powerful being, then you're gonna be like, oh, okay.
The lot. Even Diane starts to see that Zami's suit is slowly shifting, making Zami panic and zaps Diane before Nicole can get to Zami in time. With Diane receiving the blast, he then becomes hostile.
I thought Zami shot Dion once Dion was like forming a weapon which was aiming at him, but I don't know. Like, I can understand, Zami being like naive and maybe, not like the best with when to do something, but I just find that a bit odd because Dion could just be waking up. Why just zapping him? Yeah, I don't know.
slowly summoning his machine guns. Nicole then pushes Zami aside to summon her shield to counter the incoming fire from
Oh gosh.
Diane's machine guns and laser eyes. Both Nicole and Mike try and reason with Diane, to which
Oh gosh. So what's like more of an, oh actually no, I think this, oh gosh, what's more crazier, Nicole taking hits from a nitrobolical tank or taking fire from one of the like possibly the most powerful nitrobolical being? Like yes, he's maybe lasers, and thankfully he's not using his missiles, but I don't know. Maybe I don't think Nicole's shield has been updated. Yeah, nothing is said about that, but like okay. Um, yeah, if the shield can do that, then fair enough.
Diane does try and listen considering they have shown no sign of attacking. Even seeing that Zami is full of fear, and so for a moment,
Okay, so that's good. So yeah, Dion's not become totally hostile. So because if he is like trying to wake up as well and trying to intake his information, I bet he's like, okay. But does Dion then start pointing? What's
all is
happening?
calm, especially as Nicole holds up a star they have from the heist.
Oh, okay. So even Dion's like, okay. So he's like probably slowly learning over time.
They have an idea to move to another area considering the sound of machine
Okay, yeah, even yeah, if Dion can see that as a healing thing, offering healing, then yeah, because but no, because I don't think yeah, it'd be extremely tricky to try and bait someone using the star in that manner. So yeah, I think Dion can somewhat see that as genuine, even if his brain is trying to warm up. Brain? No, just his mind.
guns that was done earlier and then give Diane time to get his memory back. But according to Zamis sunglasses, it shouldn't take too long for Diane to
Um, move his number area considering the sound of machine guns. Okay, but I think yeah, so they didn't expect what happened to with what Todd was intending. Oh yeah, because I don't think um well they knew Dion has been there. Well, I didn't like he was down and he switched himself off. They probably could like Pod could have been like, oh, I've seen that with Arizona before, but even he knew that the star brought him back, after Dion turned himself off. But so he knew, yeah, especially with Pod being more familiar. So yeah, Dion's just normally switched off. I don't know how they know that, and that he's not like totally wrecked on the inside, despite being a. He would have had like a couple of dents, that's for sure. But I don't know. I just felt like a star would have worked. And but yeah, it's just so yeah, I don't think they were. So whilst they didn't discuss it, which is already like a problem, then yeah, did they not know about Tori's influence, like what he did earlier to him? Because it's like Dion being blank was like unexpected, and so the Legion already using for firearms when they weren't expecting to. I think that's where like, if we move, then let's not draw anything out. So they probably would have popped back into the vehicle. Well, good luck with trying to get Dion into that vehicle. Whilst he's still warming up, he could probably see the car as a threat, and so yeah, okay. But they'll have to move quickly and far, really. And then, yeah, time for to get his memory back. Okay, so it got tense, but then it calmed down quickly, and then goes into a battle again. So I think that's an alright occasion of tension coming in and out in that manner.
fully reboot, but even then, they have to try and jog Diane's memory regardless. This
Okay, even that's oh my gosh, did the book even talk about Azami having analytical glasses or that he wore glasses at all? I don't know, but that's a weird piece of specific information. Oh, he's coming to reboot again. Yeah, yeah, Zami is not going to have. Well, no, in the 8-bit version, I think he will just have like glowing eyes. Yeah, because even in the 8-bit version, his eyes were black like the others. So yeah, just no analytical glasses. Because when you have analytical technology, it's kind of up in the air, but you also have to be, just like making sure to, how much information you can specify, like energy levels, locations or something. What's more sensitive surfaces than others, what would break easily, what's incoming behind walls. Infrared scanning, we're talking about the lot. Yeah, it's a lot to try and do a picture in that. So yeah, I just kind of prefer yeah, just generally looking around in that, just good old fantasy really. And oh, we've got some more. What's going on here? Sorry, just a couple of things coming up. Anyway, let's get going.
This plan, however, cuts short when Retron's sniper hits Diane from afar.
Yeah, they can be saying all sorts. Like, granted, they don't know an awful lot about Dion, but a good few bits and bobs could help. They could be like, you were part of this war and you've been helping us, a couple of times recently, so I can see that kind of working.
And this is where both Diane and the Legion see from afar.
We can infer they've got those kind of memories. Oh gosh, so Retron Sniper, so I don't think they've even started the car yet. Unless they're still about to get in, I'm not sure. Yeah, they probably will walk too slowly, but regardless, yeah, Retron, I don't know how or why the vehicles would have, been devoid of sound, and unless they're silenced vehicles, which is possible but not explained, and how the vehicles would have hired too, because the Legion would have been there. So Retron would have to be extremely far. Like, maybe that could have a sniper, like okay, but yeah. And also, how strong is Retron Sniper? I thought, did he apply any nitro bits and bobs to it? I'm not sure. But yeah, I wonder how bad this hit goes, because that's not the hits that decreases the flying, I don't think.
That the servicemen are trying to search from the Legion, while those around the land are unseen.
From afar, repeated, sorry.
The servicemen crafts are in the air, and they go and
search for the Legion, sorry, but yeah, they've crossed paths now.
spot the Legion as the Legion tries and hide except Diane, who is standing.
Did the Legion not see them from afar? Maybe they were in an area that hidden by trees, I suppose.
There despite the Legion trying to budge him to hide, staring at the sky, wondering who to trust. The serviceman crafts then start shooting stun lasers at those below as Retron ordered.
I think I think John knows who to trust more. So yeah, so I'm not sure if Retron and the others only seen Dion, because maybe he was standing on his own at a point where I don't, they already see him. I don't know. I don't know who else they saw, but the Legion then started to run and hide. Well, I suppose that's the best they can do. But yeah, Dion, because I reckon the others would just like tapping him, I'd be like, "Come on, run or hide with us," and then that's where Dion continues to be hostile, and yeah, it goes for attacking servicemen, which is an interesting idea. Dion versus humans. So yeah, it should be fun to explore and watch. Yeah, obviously, it's a tense situation. The servicemen are going to be absolutely scared, but it's still an interesting concept. That's what makes this partially fun. But yeah, imagine, what a scenario or an alternative version of the story where Dion remains hostile until a certain point or even forever. Like Torrid completely wipes his memories. He could have been. Oh, actually, no, he was quite sentimental-ish in the third book when he actually felt sad that that when Simeon was no longer around. So yeah, he's completely devoid of emotion. Regardless, Legion is try and hide. Yeah, wondering who to trust. I don't quite get that line because he's already knows that he can trust Legion, because it's not like the servicemen are like, "Come with us, we have cookies. Come with us instead." No, they pointed weapons at them. Retron just shot him.
But Diane gains a few hits, making him attack the crafts above. Retron is updating.
Stun lasers? Fair enough, I suppose. Oh, I don't know, because if they wanted, hang on, um, so they kept Dion at the base, assuming, like, my first reason is to keep space trouble out of Earth, which is already contradictory because, like I said, Dion could have been forced out of Earth to only help planet conflicts that don't involve Earth. So why then go for stun lasers? You don't really need him around. I don't know why he's not even destroyed. Why was he reserved? Was it for research? And the ice stun lasers, I feel like if he's potentially a threat, he used to fall a lot unless what was Retron's sniper blast? Was that stun or fall? I don't know. And maybe the stun lasers were for the Legion too. Perhaps I can probably see that, but it's not outlined here. And the stun lasers and CRM like repeats a couple of words, aren't I? Gosh, trying to work it out again. This is tricky. Below Retron. These. Yeah, sorry, yeah. So yeah, I think the Legion would definitely be kept alive. You know, they just like to be arrested or something. Because once again, I think Retron could have been like strong or smart enough to be like, oh, you know, did get rid of all of them because we're talking about trees and therefore firing back using fatal lasers. I had to do it. So Retron could have been that smart, and it could be a what if scenario actually. Yeah, the Earth would be completely done for because of no Legion. Although what happens is Pod's fall, but Pod would have been continuing with that anyway. He's already with the Morphils, and so yeah. Even something I just thought of is that oh yeah, we're about to get a third subplot here because there's a couple of scenes that do take place down on Earth, as well as Pod with the Morphils and Legion with the Titans later on. But also, when I say that, I go back and forth between everyone in the story and everyone's positioning. Like yes, it's like catching up between all of them, and I think the time in between the cuts is well, actually no, it's not okay because I already showing how confused I was with. I don't know if the Morphils were about to make the way and Pod arrived, or they just sat like lemons until Pod arrived. um, so yeah, I just wonder if there was like a couple more hints. I think there's some more outlines, but even the way they come back and forth, because normally coming back and forth between scenes of different characters, and there's normally like purpose to going back and forth like that, when it helps build tone or structure or seeing what becomes relevant depending. Well, there's definitely one case in this actually where Retron's like, oh, we know where the Legion are, we'll send the Planet Blaster or whatever it's called, and then the Legion get attacked on another planet. So, yeah, there's a couple of payoffs like that. Regardless, seven shooting. So the vehicles can shoot stun lasers too. Okay.
That while the Legion is trying to get away, Diane is uncharacteristically malicious,
The cross first. I suppose there might be more in the way, and plus if Dion can still fly, okay.
destroying any serviceman firing at Diane, in the crafts, the cars, the tanks, the boats, or even on foot. Even the
Oh god, that could lead
Metro
to
defenses
that could lead to a lot of deaths, a lot of guilt later on. Consequences which sadly don't get addressed because Retron and Dion, funny enough, have a conversation, but did Retron be like, oh, by the way, those men you killed, better apologise to them or something? And it could have been added as like a moment of guilt, somewhat, that Dion felt and was like, oh no, which could have added for his own reason to want to, leave reality itself. And yeah, when he uses the amulet at the end of the story, trying to get away. So yeah, it's definitely outlined that yeah, he's out of character, blighting more intentionally within the story. Oh gosh, so the servicemen are on all sorts of vehicles. Okay, even boats. Is there nearby lakes?
so far assist, actually creating damaging hits against Diane, not to mention Retron at first gets everyone to
Oh wow, they must have been placed up really quickly. In an hour, unless they were placed all around earlier. Well, if they were placed around earlier, did the Legion go like, wait, what's going on? But also, they would have like shot the tank riding race, at the near this at the after the first chapter, the military defences would have gone for them. It would have been an alright intro actually, because it just shows how the Legion could have been redundant. They nearly make their way to the dam, only to be like, oh, okay. Well, that would mean a different setup for the main trio at this point.
fire fatal lasers at Diane, but eventually tells all servicemen to stand down, letting the Netro turrets and drones make their move.
But why the stun lasers? Unless that was meant to be, just for the Legion, and the Dion gets the the proper lasers. Confused. And creating hits Dion, not to mention Retron gets So yeah, Dion is getting shot quite a lot. Yeah, from all angles, I can see why. Um, tells, oh, okay, so tells Surfman stand down. Okay, well, if you were doing it, why didn't you,
Tilda
why
chapter
did you get the Surfman
52,
involved in the
Waking
first
Up.
place if the
Back
Nitroid
on Earth,
defenses
an
weren't
hour
there?
after the
If there was
heist,
like enough of them, of
Retron sees the
course.
defenses getting released into the open world, and the production of the defenses is getting quicker at a point where the newly collected stars are in need. However, some servicemen take the knocked-out serviceman to Retron, someone who is waking up after being stunned. After being shocked by this, Retron considers this being the Legion, wondering
Yeah, so that's talk about more about AoE attacks and what the current danger is. If he uses long-range weapons, what close attacks. Um, oh, yes, the Legion are behind while they're just still hiding, and because they do go out and about because they have to help somehow. Why didn't they help the servicemen earlier? Actually, I've got a bit puzzled by that. Yeah, because they're just very hidden. Because I don't know, they would have helped, the servicemen, because someone just hide away, like in that manner. Yeah, no, that's not what they do. Maybe they could be hiding to avoid the lasers, but I don't know. Um, so attack on most firstmen we use long range weapons or watch close attacks because you use body weight. The Legion watchers hiding as well as distracting everyone, but the chances to redeem themselves. Oh yeah, for the Legion to try and redeem themselves whilst yeah, because what they try and do is get John's attention and then try and be like, oh, please stop, just like get away, and they all stop attacking you as well.
where they are. And even other servicemen after checking the room where Diane is supposed to be a report that Diane's body is missing. So Retron orders a search party to find both the Legion and Diane.
Okay. Oh, actually, well, if Nico had the star in hand, why didn't Dion take it unless Retron did shoot before Dion could touch it? I can see that being an okay reason, but yeah, that should have been explained. But anyway, so they have some ideas. Okay.
Already having ideas where the Legion could be, somewhere barren. The Legion has reached a barren area, and they need to bring back Diane as soon as possible, and then generate a new craft, or a new
Sorry, I've got offering star. Yeah, good idea. Done so far. Dion's attention won't be easy. Definitely not. Yeah, with all of the attacking, all of this happens. Town of Playmo. Is that short for Playmobil? I think so. Yeah, because I used to love that stuff. Yeah. If I can find it, there was like a video I personally made for myself where it just shows me going past loads of Playmobil pages because to me, when it was like that later 2000s era, somewhat, I kind of feel like that was like the peak Playmobil. Just like a proper nice style, and even the way the sets were shown, they were just so lit up really well with the lighting because older Playmobil I've seen and they look pretty alright, but it's kind of is it like a bit glossier nowadays and a bit more detail? Is that the case? Probably. Um, yeah, but anyway, I'll apply the video, but you can see why I think when I was growing up, that was peak Playmobil because yeah, all of the sets look so cool. Yeah, especially like the newer ones at the time, like the dinosaur one, the Egyptian one. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's the town. So that's set up for later. Yeah, we don't get too much of the setting, but if it is just a town, I guess you can play it with all sorts. Although in the storybook shows that the town has like cyan roofs, etc. Anyway, but yeah, the town is in trouble. So yeah, I suppose the defences come from there, but if it is like drones, then they should have kept Dion away from the public, stick to the barren area, even if it's wrecking natural land. And the tourists could probably still shoot from afar. Do they not shoot lasers? No, I mean like auto-aim lasers or even missiles. That yeah, I'm not too sure either. And yeah, no, there's a couple of writing problems there.
awesome tone, up into space, they have an idea to go to the Titanrans. Thanks to prior research using the GPS which they have recorded the location of elsewhere.
Yes, so there's already other damage to the town, irrespective of Dion, because everyone's getting distracted. Everyone's at risk with the fire. Servicemen are trying to protect the public as well. Okay. Because even if I thought, or have it more in a town as more tense, but Dion and the Legion are already in a tense spot, so it's the tension's already there. You don't need to like needlessly endanger the public, writing wise. I just felt like it's a bit daft of me to write it like this. Try and protect the public from Dion. Okay.
They know where to go, even if it's a long way with the use of light speed. The Titan Rands might be the race who would be the keenest.
Okay, and so that might be the shot that Rex is flying, and I wonder what stops us flying for quite some time actually, even with the star. Oh wait, no, wait, hang on. Oh no, I think I spotted a contradiction. So that shot probably stops Dion's flying, and so when he gets the star back, he should be able to fly again. But at the same time, I thought he was unable to fly because of how significant the hacking was to Horrid. So, but I thought he was up in the air firing at the serviceman, unless he has been on foot all this time and just using the speed boost. Although firing at his back would be almost redundant considering his flying's already down. Although I suppose it's just showing what kind of damage he can receive and how these defences could be effective. But you can see I'm a bit confused. But I think the only way it works is that if he didn't have the flying from the get-go. Once again, another what-if scenario if he never got his flight back ever or until like a certain point at any time. Also another what-if scenario, what if he lived and someone else came out of cost, what else did, what else could be beaten against Sign for? Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, I think he's lost his flying from that point on, but yeah, so he falls onto the road. So if he's falling, I think that's a sign of flying, unless he's high up a building. But he won't be unless he can jump really high like the Hulk because of like the strength from the legs. Is that the case? Oh, I know Dion has speed boost, so I can see how it probably would make up a building somewhat. Yeah, because towns have vaguely smaller buildings.
To see the Legion compared to other races. As they reach their destination, they manage to get Diane out of the vehicle. Nicole and Mike start to get rattled.
That's a bit of a lengthy sentence, but anyway. So yeah, it has helped some crime on Earth, so that's confirmed. Because I've envisioned that loads of times. Dion might be saving the day around Earth multiple times. Would have been nice to see an example, but never mind. But if he's all around other planets that don't have, the equivalent to the police, etc., then I can see why, Dion hasn't been to Earth much. Maybe during the Golden Age, but not an awful lot. Before and definitely not after because it was shut down for a couple of days. Because he's sometimes busy, of course. That's why he's not around Earth. Probably sees something is not right with Dion. Because if those who see him probably in a very admirable area, maybe the merchandise could have showed off how cool and humble he is, but obviously not this time.
By Zami again, telling Zami to be quiet, telling Zami that yes, getting Diane was risky and it could make them more like enemies, but the universe does need Diane. Zami cannot reach the heights of Diane. Diane, after all, is equivalent.
That's an interesting set of differences between hostile Dion versus our Dion, or the one we know, because he's always careful of the land, and we already would know that he's careful of the public too. Especially if he's already careful of land, and if he's a hero, of course you have to be careful. So Dion's not needlessly going for people, so that detail I like, but by going for the defences, it's risking the public around him. Serviceman Ali is trying to sort out the public, so that's okay, while being careful of the public. Okay.
Equivalent to the Legion combined. But when will the Legion become united? Zami's new obsession with power is making Zami disagreeable with anyone else. Regardless, the Legion has Diane.
Because that is Oh, actually, even if that, because at first I thought it was like a childish thing by being like, oh no, the my defenses aren't working. But because Retron isn't like, yeah, sure, he is a bit over the top at times, but he's not, that obsessed with, like his own, uh, with his own battles and such. What's one of these? Okay, never mind. Anyway, it's just yeah. Oh god, it's just more flies. Right, okay. Anyway, so yeah, because Retron, if he as well as wants to be top dog, there is like a part of him, because he's a soldier after all. Then he would want to, keep an eye on the public, make sure they're safe. So he's worried about the people, and yeah, he wants to get Dion sorted. But also with him being worried that the defenses aren't working, so that is let's see, because as well as his dream idea not working, it just goes to show that fifth Dion can easily defeat them. Then if there's beings more powerful than Dion, how would it sort them out? That means that they already will work against Mechajaw and definitely not Thor. So that's like us being like, oh yeah, so Retron's definitely in the wrong for creating these defenses that don't even work against the most dangerous of threats, especially if it's causing that kind of collateral damage. Although I guess with the defenses being all around him with the drones, I suppose there is like a way to keep things under control, by only shooting like unarmed robber, for instance, because that's how law is often like. But yeah, these defenses, they should be able to shoot sun lasers too. So there is that as well. But yes, looks like it can definitely handle like a lot of Earth-based situations. But yeah, just like nothing against massive threats, to which yeah, I think Retron's really hoping. But yeah, not to mention, yeah, I think he does get a bit of criticism from the likes of politicians by being like, well, why didn't these defences work? Did you have other defence ideas, or yeah, like what happened?
And prepared, and thanks to Zamis' extra familiarity with his power of cubes.
Um, Yeah, I can see that being the case, because if the literature started being laid out, like, yeah, okay, because way more defenses do get added, don't they? But not to mention, I feel like these defenses are like there for ages, unless they're just like newly there, because it takes place like there's like one more day that happens with everything going on, when I don't know. Like it just, I can't see defenses being applied that quickly. Maybe I don't know. It's just maybe Nitro is that easy to manipulate. Maybe that's like the best answer I could think of, and maybe there could be like a way to duplicate exact models, but I didn't know that's not been established, because what they could have done as as a reboot idea is that it could be like, oh, did you know these Nitro, they work similar to your cubes, Amy? That means that you better teach us how to manipulate Nitro, or there'll be severe consequences, with retrofitting him, for instance. And it could even act as like a bit of world building, because if Nitro is as like malleable as the cubes, and if the cube is like the primary representation of proper malleable materials, especially like customized sci-fi based ones, then yeah, I think that kind of connection would be kind of fun to point out. And yeah, there could even be a debate, what is different, which is better, Zami's cubes, or or Nitro, even that yeah, because even Nitro has never meant to be made. What is better? Well, we all know that the element's better because it's more powerful than that. But at least those kind of ideas would have worked, and it would have also made sense why these defences were made, how they would have been placed easily, how the drones would have been raised already. No, but just already ready. Anyway, just get worried that his defences are working. You're also thinking needs more defences. Yeah, it's a bit of a underwhelming answer, because it could have just been, the black and variety defences for something else. Who knows? Anyway, Retron all this time has um, Retron all this time has kept. Oh yeah, so he's still at it with the sniper.
He can get Diane out of his power off mode compared to when he was first introduced to his power. Diane has woken up, but it looks like the goal to make Torrid hostile somehow.
Um, he goes to find Retron despite defenses bothering him. So, no, sorry, that's a literacy problem again. So is Dion sorted out the defenses and now going to go for Retron, or is he going to go for Retron despite the defenses bothering him? Oh my god, puzzled. It makes Retron the target, that's for sure. And even the Legion do try and save him, but somehow that still isn't enough. But I suppose it is siding with Dion, so I can see why he's still annoyed, not to mention his dream isn't working.
Works because Diane cannot remember anything. He looks blank, and this worries the lot. Even Diane starts
Like laser wise, or just like hardened, like metal plated onto it. I could see the former, but it must be a powerful laser. And also, like even if it's a nitro laser, where did he hit Diane exactly? Because would like hitting the head and maybe putting a hole through, would that be shutting him down off? Like what if scenario, I suppose. So yeah, sorry, I got too many notifications blasting. Anyway, face to face, don't having the sniper ready. Okay, so Mike's already there. How did he get there so quickly? Was it the 4x4? That's my best answer. Unless Sammy manipulated some cubes to get going.
to see that Zammy's suit is slowly shifting, making Zammy panic and zaps Diane before Nicole can get to Zammy in time. With Diane receiving the blast, he then becomes hostile, slowly summoning his machine guns. Nicole
Um. Oh, okay. Wait, hang on. So Dion was like face to face with Retron, only to then go out to the defenses and then accidentally getting hit by a car of a citizen. Okay. Was the system still in the car when it was thrown, or did the resident manage to get out? I'm not sure. Um. So yeah, that's like a very weird back and forth kind of situation, because I thought there was like that tense moment where he was like face to face with Retron. And this was like a moment of tension, being like Queen of Retron could perhaps like go for the shot now, only for Mike to resume in out the way. But Dion wasn't going to hit him or shoot him, so what happened?
then pushes Zammy aside to summon her shield to counter the incoming fire from Diane's machine guns and laser eyes. Both Nicole
The other star? So, wait, hang on. Did Nicole already give Dion a star that probably healed, from the torrid stuff, like the torrid injuries, even if the mind's trying to catch up? So I understand. Wait, so did Dion like get his mind just more so on its own and had nothing to do with the regeneration that he needed, from the start? Just given one by Nicole and then given yet another one. Um, um, yeah, right, Zammy, because don't want to be shot loads of times. Like, granted, he didn't fix the flying. So wait, Nicole gave him a star first, so he was flying, but then because being shot at the back stopped him from flying. But then even after a star, he was unable to stop flying. So, oh my god, I'm so confused. Did Torres stop his flying in the first place or not? Because book one shows that with a star, or because he was. Oh wait, hang on. Because he was shot once by Nitrobots in his ship, and despite having no star, he was then able to fly. But that was his ship and a turret. Like, both would have a similar firing kind of power. So, I guess the question is, why did it take so long for him to get the flight back? But even with a star, why isn't it? Why is this flight not back? Oh, there's so many things that aren't working. God, yeah, I think these books suck. But my animations will be good. I promise that, because they are. Because I do believe in those even more so. Because yeah, just because even if her writing the book is cool, it's I have all sorts of bits and bobs. I can't even read other people's novels. I can't read Jack Reacher, which sucks because I really like the TV show. Can't read the Narnia books. I just can't read pages of words. I've struggled to go through them. Ah, God. Yeah, because I can read my own novels because it's me that's written them. I can visualize them, but I can't visualize other people's imaginations. Fortunately, it sucks. Anyway, to start with the tangent, let's get going. So Zami, I think this is him, at the Ark. This probably could be him testing, a new belief, to control his power and not show off as more, just like more reserved ways of controlling the problem. So even if he's testing it, then fine. I just feel like that's a bit too early because he even was going to zap a Titran process because, he thought, oh, I could quicken it. So he was still cocky, so he learned nothing from this. So yeah, I just feel like this is an arc part that's like too early. But like, well, maybe it is just like, just like testing the belief, but then just properly getting told off, and that's where he starts to reject the belief about being too powerful. And yeah, because sadly enough, because it's only Pod who gets like all of the bombardment from Mechajaw, which means that Mechajaw doesn't get really a chance to meet the others. Therefore, they don't get beliefs challenged really. Maybe Nicole a bit with Mechadraw later on, but it's like with it just being Pod, because when you look at, well, actually, let's look at Guardian of the Galaxy 3, because despite the High Evolutionary being, primary antagonist to Rocket, and how, how their motivations, etc., clash in all sorts of ways, but at least there's like, because he at least has a conversation with Star-Lord, who's pretty much like another main character, or if not the main character. So that's where, Peter and the High Evolutionary can, have like a grudge against each other, even if there was more history between the High Evolutionary and Rocket. So yeah, that's like a good example, because they only have like a couple of exchanges, and yet that still felt somewhat built up. And even when it was even kind of satisfying, when Starlord was shooting the High Evolutionary, saving Rocket with the others. So yeah, that's like kind of built up well. But yeah, I can't say the same with my own story here. And then okay. So yeah, I just think I'm a bit unsure about what stage this is at with the arc. So it's more tries to reason with the start. Okay, so okay.
And Mike try and reason with Diane, to which Diane does try and listen considering they have shown no sign of attacking.
I'm concerned about him. Wait, what is so? If Nicole gives Zemi a star, what is Nicole and Mike doing at this time? Because they should be keeping an eye on Zemi just in case. Are they? Is it other servicemen helping? Is it protecting other residents? Is it suicide Retron? I don't know. It's I don't know what they're doing.
Even seeing that Zami is full of fear, and so for a moment, all is calm.
Does that even search party? Oh no, this text isn't in line. Awesome, a search party. Okay. Well, let's just read this properly. So, it provides the star and answers to Colmar concerned by aiming serviceman Sammy is offering to heal Dion. Sammy tries to fill Dion with as many memories of the Legion. Okay. Starts to work. Dion gains the star from Sammy and does make Dion all better. So, yeah, I can, get like the scene is fine, even if the arc things had off, it's, yeah, okay. Um, yeah. And, say memories, yeah, I just wonder which memories, but at least it's helping. Yeah, because with the only given space to which Retro wouldn't have to be told, then defenses would have had to start. Maybe the defenses to identify that Legion members or the public nearby at least, something like that. Yes, I mean, as Dark concerned. Oh, so Nicole might be concerned by him, servicemen. Okay, so are they like telling the servicemen to stand down? Is what they all collectively doing? Well, I've mentioned other reasons. Why don't they do that too whilst they're at it? Because Zami's already got his hands full. I kind of like Zami being the one to talk to Diana, because it at least shows like some kind of maturity that it has. Like, granted, the overpower kind of stuff is yet to be improved, but yeah, because he was like the naive one, and Dion has helped Sammy up, a couple of times before. So yeah, so it's almost like returning the favour, getting Dion back into the world almost, helping him find his role. Well, his role again, granted, but it's different to everything else that we went through in the first book. But even then, Book with Legion starts to work. Anyway, search party. What is this about?
Especially as Nicole holds up a star they have from the heist. They have an idea to move to another area considering the sound of machine guns that was done.
Oh, okay, no, we're missing some text, so let's just try and listen carefully.
Arrest them, and so sends a search party away. Diane then goes from damaging some of the defenses to then endangering citizens, getting hit by a car, and then chucking the car away. Now nowhere is safe. Thanks to the conversation earlier, Zami decides to control his power more as he tries to reason with Diane with the other star. But then he zooms from one Legion member to the next and zooms away on foot quickly, knowing that the Legion is in deep trouble. Retron is keen to control his power more as he tries to reason with Diane, endangering citizens, getting hit by a car, and then chucking the car away. Now nowhere is safe.
1 second. I'm really behind on time. Sorry, it's just other notifications. Anyway, so citizens, okay.
Thanks to the conversation earlier,
Yeah.
Zami decides to control his power more as he tries to reason with Diane with the other star. But then he zooms from one Legion member to the next.
That's the wrong text. Okay. Okay, so I beg you remember this part. So, yeah, Dion, he gathers all the Legion members, and hang on, he's flying, isn't he? Does he lose his flight later on then? Is that what happens? Is it like the jungle fight that happens? Okay, well that's just a load of servicemen with guns. I don't see how that will be more significant. Maybe it is like the speed boosting, but yes, he managed to grab everyone, so his memory is coming back. I think it probably comes back at the jungle, which might have been kind of cool if he gains like his memory back over time, but um, yeah, it's just like an alternative story idea, I suppose. But he's getting memory ball back. I still kind of like because he does, get some flack from the Titarans, which makes John feel sad. So yeah, and but yeah, then Retron's like, oh no, this is like treason, endangerment, causing a problem. They're escaping Earth, and I told them not to. And then he thought of an idea to kill them, and he's even going to go behind their president's back about it or something. Let's have a listen.
And zooms away on foot quickly, knowing that the Legion
On foot.
is in deep trouble. Retron is keen to.
Yeah, if Dion's got his memory back, yeah, I think he could guess that what's around is a bit troublesome, and yeah, Retron's around, and he probably has been seeing all of the Nitra defenses, seeing Nitra being misused, which comes back later. So yeah.
Arrest them, and so sends a search party. Even Retron.
Oh yeah, if it's on foot, then if the Legion haven't left yet, then yeah, of course, because they do track sky activity after all.
Secretly orders the serviceman to kill the Legion no matter what. And he will be gaslighting the likes of the president that it had to be done for the serviceman's safety. Finally,
that's a good manipulated reason, but it's also going to show that he must not be that much friends with the president because I think gaslighting is the wrong term, but I don't know, but he's definitely lying to be like, oh, we're probably like a defense thing, etc. But I think Retron just wants to properly get rid of them.
there is the aftermath. Most of the turrets and drones are wrecked, and while there will be more being released,
yeah, maybe they might be able to be fixed easily if they can be maneuverable in that way, but yeah, it's not established. Yeah, but if they were like extremely malleable, like as malleable as Play-Doh, essentially, then I think that could be a good reason.
the others need instant repair. Some greenery is harmed, if it wasn't bad enough already that it has been squandered by torrids blocks, which all have to be.
Sorry, lengthy sentence. So yeah, there's torrid blocks still about. I think there's some world building with these blocks as well. That's how they're trying to be materialized by other alien races. It doesn't pay off though, which is a bit of a shame because yeah. But anyway, so it's nice to comment about the natural land, because the Dion trying wanting to protect it is already like a nice touch, and it just goes to show that you should definitely look after the environment when you're doing things. But to have like some acknowledgement of that, I think it is just quite nice because yeah, because when have you ever watched a fight scene and think, oh no, the greenery? I don't really I can't really pick an example, but I just like the acknowledgement here. But I think it's just because I watch a lot of animal documentaries and they talk about how the natural land's important. So I guess it just makes me feel bad at a point where I just want to write it in because even Torrid would be no, Dion would be ashamed. Um, so yeah, we're both with the Torrid stuff and with Dion, what Dion just did just then.
Broken down and placed elsewhere for research. Plus the town has
Oh, so they have been breaking down the side. Okay. Well, what kind of research doesn't pay off? Cool idea though.
a few injured people, some broken roads, and even some roads and buildings have been broken down too. Despite Torrid's attack
Bit repetitive at times, but okay.
being ages ago, seeing events like this makes people feel like they are in danger all the time, never knowing who can protect.
And yeah, that I really like as a line too, because yeah, when these things keep happening to Earth, then of course you're going to be like absolutely scared, not knowing what's going to happen. So yeah, it's like a whole new dangerous era. So yeah, I think everyone could be like really tense. They'll be hiding in bunkers forever, for all we know. But that's what the likes of Legion want to prevent in the subtext. They don't want this fear to be about. And the reason this is happening is because, Xyme4X are just still out and about, and Retron unfortunately has a very powerful agenda.
Them, and not even having any confidence in the servicemen nor Retron, which bothers them too. Retron will try anything to.
Oh gosh, they don't know who to trust, who's going to be the best protector. Well, it's still the Legion, of course. They just need a better way of doing things now to approach it. Which bothers them too. Retron will try anything too. Oh yeah, well, let's see how much. Well, he does stop a robbery at one point, so I guess that's like a good starting point with getting on everyone to trust him. But maybe there should have been like more instances of Retron doing things where he could be like, "Yes, I'm the hero again," and he's be letting everyone down when the flood comes. So that could be, yeah, I think there should have been a bit more Retron stuff in there because yeah, this book was like a really good opportunity to really flesh him out. Maybe in the third book, imagine if Ozona was failure on the Legion's part, and then Retron was like, oh, let's use the Nitro defenses, and then that's where it could be quite an heavily Earth-based story again. It could have like another planet involved, like on a war. Maybe that's where the Titrons then come about, and maybe they could talk about how Retron's ideas are completely ruining the natural land, and the Titrons could have this thing when they want to retain like the natural land everywhere. Maybe that's something that Timefall doesn't really care about, and they could try and confront Retron about the defenses. But then he fails when Sliverrock comes about, and then going to Mechajaw just leads to like still acknowledging the consequences of Retron's defenses, and she just focuses on just going out about to Earth to find Mechajaw. Becomes a bit of a space quest. So that could be another set of events because instead of relegating all of the Retron and Nitro defense stuff into like part of book 4, I feel like it should be dedicated as a book itself. Granted, I could come up with spin-offs, but I don't know, but we're given like a less than 48-hour time gap, so how would you be able to do that? Anyway,
make everyone trust him. And sadly, the servicemen have the help with a mess which the Legion has made, mainly because the Legion has to go.
yeah, I can imagine them being like, "Oh my god, all this mess again." Wait, hang on, they have to clean the mess. Is damage control not a thing unless that's what they're helping with? Hopefully they're helping with. Um, yeah, yeah. How odd. Let's just hope that the servicemen don't literally run every job. What are they going to do? Are they going to be editors as well, lawyers, bricklayers? I don't know. Just no. Oh, I don't like how I did the servicemen in the story because yeah, there just should be updated army soldiers. That's it, and that's how they're going to be in the reboot. Anyway, be a help with the mess. So maybe the residents helping too. Damage control could already be there. The Legion. Well, it's not just the Legion making a mess. It's Dion and the turrets. It's Retron's fault too.
Go from one mission to the next. This means the Legion got all the fun, and there would need to be more Netro inventions like a road cleaner or perhaps a type of drone that can shield. But the turrets and drones.
Okay, so those are just the riders from Retron. Okay. All the fun. That's even if it means something else, as in Retron wanting, all of the action and then being successful with it, I think that's what that line kind of means. Because, yeah, after all, Retron wants to be, they're seen as the heroic type who has everything under control, being like the ultimate hero. But yeah, so if Nitro as is fast as it is, why not have, a road cleaner or a shielding Nitro? Add a shield to a drone, even. Yeah, why didn't they get those made? At least it's other ideas that can be done, I suppose, and maybe the reboot, all sorts could be invented to make the most secured area ever. And then anyway, mainly because Lee has to go from one mission to the next. Uh, so the Legion accidentally make a mess all the time. It's all that's being implied, with the salesman have to clean their mess. Is that the case? Maybe if it's alien stuff, I suppose, but not everything was. Anyway, this is just turrets and roads. So while they're cleaning the mess up, where's the damage control? They got all the fun, and there would be need more nitro inventions like road clean or perhaps a type of drone that can shield. So yeah, okay.
Need their placed perimeter first. New ideas require their own time and pipeline, and the turrets and drones were already in production.
Well, I don't think so. It looks like he can whip them out rather quickly. Granted, I think stars could be a bit time consuming, but yeah, I think there should be reasons why all of this is going so quick. Because what I could have done is that maybe the Legion Space Adventure could have been like even more days, maybe like a lot longer. That could be like a fresher twist of the story. How going to the Titrons could have been like a day or two later, and how Potter could have been on the Vranic planet for ages, and the Legion are trying to find him, take for ages as well. That could have been something, but yeah, unfortunately, everything's just so short in a ridiculous amount of time. To place primitive first. Okay, yeah, it's just to make an idea how to place them. New ideas may require their own time and pipeline, time already in production and agreed on by the president and more. So, and more probably refers to other politicians, I suppose. But do the politicians not have like other things to prioritize too? I don't know, like there's still consequences from the torrid situation. Is that all okay? Like the blocks have been acknowledged, and I suppose the leader are disliked. But what other consequences were that? We can infer all sorts, like businesses destroyed, homes even. I said homes. I thought I just said hummus. Sorry, bad pronunciation. Anyway, own time. So yeah, you kind of get the idea. Yeah, and I've already talked about how my timeline could be a bit messed up for it in this specific book. Fortunately, still quite like the scene there overall. Has got good few highlights. But anyway, let's go on to the next page. Okay, so now we're on to a scene where yeah, Pod is pretty much in this cage. Yeah, we can somewhat see the door and the outside window to some of the land. Victor Pod, yeah, had the first encounter. Let's see how well they catch up. Where's the video? Oh, it's because of the pointer.
Tilda chapter 53, Pod's catching up. Back at the Morphil planet, Pod wakes up in a cell, wondering what is about to happen. But as he wonders, Pod has a good look outside of his cell window. Well,
Yeah, it has a good view at least. Yeah, it's all barred up as it seems. Oh yeah, it is described that way. Yeah, so you should see what the outside setting is like, and yeah, it is quite well described. Yeah, just like maybe some more of the setting, and then yeah, just definitely how the Morphils act. And yeah, when you're blocked up, yeah, he knows what's going to happen. Yeah, he's not seen Mechadraw yet.
barred up, using Netro, but even then, his arms are chained up at a point where he is stuck to a single spot, no touching the walls or even the floor. But
I think that meant the ceiling. Yeah, because he would be walking on the floor unless he's hovering, to which, yeah, they could be effective. It prevents you from digging under, I suppose, but that's not established. Well, at least the chain is at a limited length.
even then, it has been so long since he last saw his race, and not much has changed. They are
Yeah, I don't actually know how long it's actually been, but if it's been like some time before, um, before the Legion, because Pod came to Earth and then Mike came up with the Legion idea, so that was not long before when the first book happened. So was it like a year ago or
One
something?
of those races which like to practice combat often. They still possess the same fighting style as Pod used to start with before the Legion gave him tilde chapter 53.
I think that was repeated, but never mind. But yeah, they seem to like to practice, so okay.
Pod's catching up. Back at the Morphil planet, Pod wakes up in a cell, wondering what is about to happen. But as
Oh yeah, it wasn't just bubbles, yeah, it's just Late Water in general, which can be interacted with, which is kind of cool.
he wonders, Pod has a good look outside of his cell window,
Would have been nice to see what kind of board games, but regardless, it's cool.
well barred up, using Netro, but even then, his arm
Oh, that's quite nice, yeah, just like a nice way to welcome newcomers. So just stones to build huts. Yeah, it'll be like igloos, but made out of stones. That's neat.
arms are chained up at a point where he is stuck to a single spot, no touching the wall.
So yeah, they're just helping them to welcome them in, considering how mean their leader is here, because they're not too keen.
Or even the floor. But even then, it has been so long since he last saw his race, and not much has changed. They are
So yeah, that's already evidence that they have evolved over time. So yeah, I actually quite like this. So yeah, like there are like some who are far meaner because of Mechador's influence, but you have like some, like Clam, who would have been brought up by like the other Morphals by being like, just ignore him, we just have to get on, but we'll just have some fun here. Because I feel like they've been, I don't know, they just like follow what they do. Because like I don't think they would be. I think they're all too scared to go up against Mechador, but I think at the same time they're not told anything about the outside world at a point where, well, what about the Legion stuff there? They know bits and bobs, so they should have like some awareness of the outside world, but maybe not enough to make them feel bad for getting at anyone. Um, it could be something like that, but yeah, it's a bit unclear on that side of things. But
one
okay.
of those races which like to practice combat often. They still possess the same fighting style as Pod used to start with before the Legion gave him extra tips. Aside from their abilities, these Morphils sometimes
Oh yeah, that's the very animalistic way of the whole leader thing. So it's just trying to make sure that this works. Like if someone wants to take over from Mechador, how can it be done? And it looks like there is a way, but it'll be very tricky, yeah, to fight against Mechador. Yeah, very likely, yeah, because Mechador's perhaps the oldest Morphil around. Well, at least I reckon there's other older Morphils like that could be fun to explore, but you never know. Maybe Mechador was very early. Although wasn't really specified. But this often leads to also there are clashes amongst Morphals as well. So they are like, yeah, because I'm not sure if it's repetitive, because we've had the such as trying to block both sides, but now we have the Morphils as well. Yeah, which yeah, in the reboot, yeah, the Ninja Bots are all on the same page, but with these Morphils, they could have like a variety of different perspectives. So yeah, I reckon something like that could be fun to do in the reboot. Yeah, because you have a team of the same race who aren't all on the same page. Um, but yeah, but also, did the Morphers not like tribe anything else? Like, what if Mechador goes to sleep? Did he making sure he's protecting himself well or something? Yeah, that's not clarified. Um, but also capture conversations. I don't think Pod has super hearing. Maybe there's some Morphers too close. But if they are too close, then why aren't they looking up into this cell? Also, like, why is there need for a cell in the first place? Because there's the Veronics, which the Veronic planet, yeah, because Mechador I think sends some North Morphals over there. But yeah, why the cell? Is it just to? I think there is an attempt of an explanation, but yeah, we'll wait and see. I don't really know because it's weird. Because is it the cells if anyone misbehaves or something, or to isolate them, or if the Veronics is to totally get rid of them? That's like the two consequences. I think that's what I was trying to apply, but we'll see. Captain conversation about that matter. See. So yeah, it's like like a throne kind of thing. Yeah, if they want to be that lead, the rest of the Morphils, be a good leader, but also like Mechadraw's never budged. And I think because of how animalistic a Mechador is, I think part of his instinct is, oh, if they want to fight for the spot, like animals do, then fair enough. But I'm going to win them all. So yeah, I think he probably enjoys the fighting, knowing that he's going to win. Yeah, but also like if this is like Animal Kingdom logic, then that just like it adds to the animalistic side that Mechador has. So yeah, he's interested in some bits and bobs. Yeah, there's some interesting bits and bobs.
Like to relax, swimming through the rivers or the massive chunks of water in the air, they often play board games made up of
I feel like there's a couple of mixed up words anyway. But yeah, there's not many that ask. It's probably lessened over time, and yeah, it must be like quite off-putting as well because Mechador has like a laser sword, so yeah, it's really it must be very tricky.
stones. They also enjoy working together to build stone shelters for new Morphils, and they also focus on getting new Morphils to enter the new world.
Okay, so it still has some good use, so yeah, that's nice. Even the arena has like some rocks and a couple of waterfalls, even some floating water. Yeah, to revive the arena, because like I said before, I don't like fight scenes that take place on flat land.
The more pro-Mechador Morphils get their new Morphils to be as vicious as possible, whilst the
I think just to clarify, like I think a lot of fight scenes, don't always interact with the environment around. Because, like for instance, a really good martial arts scene, that's just the skill shown off, so that's cool. But if it's characters with supernatural abilities and you just fight against one another on flatter ground, I think that's where, yeah, you would need more obstacles than that. I think that's what I would say. Yeah, I don't really want to. Well, actually, no. I just can't think of an example. But I just remember a couple of cases where I'm just like, well, why didn't you add like all sorts to the arena? All sorts to interact with. Um, so yeah. I tell you what is a good example of a fight on flat land. The final duel in the first Gladiator. Yeah, because that's showing off really cool sword skills and the tension's already there. But so yeah, I like that.
kinder Morphils try and get them to have an open mind. But this often leads
Oh, it doesn't recommend this request because he's meant to be a leader indefinitely. Oh, okay. So yeah, like I said, he's animalistic, but he's just like, probably going to be up there already. And yeah, I guess it's almost nice to give others a chance to fight him, like I said, animal logic, but yeah, he just already knows he's top dog.
to clashing. Even Pod managed to capture a conversation about the fact
Got a description of the arena as well, it's used for twice. I'm a bit mixed with the structuring as well. I can see how it works with the midpointed and the seriousness of the structure. But yeah, so Pod goes from locked up to fighting more films, then locked up again. Mechdor goes into his head, and Pod then goes to Arena again to fight Mechdor. So it's like using the same location. Like granted, it's like a crowd, and then fighting the expert. Maybe the environment should have varied a bit more in some way to make it like a trickier challenge. I think that should have happened.
that if Mechador was to be taken over, then a Morphil has to let Mechador know that a Morphil wants to be a leader. So
Oh yeah, that's shown in the storybook. Yeah, like the half of their body's in water.
Mechador will allow a challenge to fight him. But no wonder not many
Yeah, that's cool. I wonder how that translates to 8-bit. I think it was somewhat attempted in the storybook.
Morphils ask for this role because Mechador has always beaten all of the Morphils that have wanted to challenge him using the arena. Nowhere days the arena
Oh, okay. So yeah, they seem to be allowed to have their fun, but whenever Mechador just wanders, I think they just I don't know, just that sit normally twiddling their thumbs, and um, yeah, and um, yeah. So it's just like a behavioural thing. So it's Mechador is just similar to Design for where like anything like remotely that goes against the bad guy, even like a hint, that's where Mechador will act. But 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 even with Cell and the Varanix, and then there's the mind controlling almost with the device he has within his arms. So that's a their type of punishment. Is that whenever he goes for those who seem too intelligent? Is that what he's implying? Although unlike Pod, which it happens to later on, the others don't have. Not all of them would have an odd history. So not too yeah, I'm not too sure. It's like I said, it's like too many too many like consequences for this behavior. Um, so yeah, who knows? Um, anyway, McDrawley would yeah. Oh, okay, so the cell is to perform that processing, so it's just like a locked up room of some kind. Okay, well that sounds a bit dark, really. And yeah, because I don't do mind control or mind reading in this universe, but I think what mind control does is something a bit more scientific, yeah, a bit more disturbing.
Has been used for practice. And even Mechajor doesn't recommend this request because he is planning to be the leader indefinitely.
Um, um, but yeah, it's just a ability. Yeah, it sounds like an ability you can't really do during combat situations if it requires a cell, like a room to be still within.
He mainly takes these challenges to show the other Morphils who are boss. The arena is a large circle surrounded by waterfalls with clumps of rock from place to place. Even a lot of spare water for the
Under the same lid, I felt like I've come up with that term, but so it's not too bad of a made up term. uh, and then bank currency. Yeah, so that's just like a bit of history. Yeah, that's how animalistic he used to be. I wonder how it's explored actually.
Morphils to crowd around to watch the arena. The arena is also grey and blue with a Morphil silhouette painted all over it. To add to that, Mechajor's presence
Um, Hypotheses, one more fulfills work properly in the eyes of maker targets. So did the Vranix used to be a form of punishment until he had the new technology? Well, is the mind technology newer? When did he get it from? Who assisted him? Was it like one of Zeinfield's goons? Could it even be Stiverrock? That could have been like a better twist. Um, so more. So yeah, so it sounds like an older punishment. Unless maybe that's those are taken to the Ranix, on a completely other planet, mind you. If they just can't be fixed at all, like after the mind device, is that what that's been implied? Yeah, I could have specified them more briefly. I think in the reboot, I'll probably just have the Devranix as the only punishment and probably remove the mind technology. I just feel like it's better when Pod is like reminded, subtly through words and images, like us human beings, instead of, I don't know, a machine that can access your mind, like, oh my gosh.
is enough to stop some of the Morphils' fun, any misbehaving or hints of mind evolution.
Oh yeah, so even we don't know what that planet is like, but oh boy, it's one of the most dangerous planets, if not the most dangerous. I think even Seinfeld would be bitten loads. Yeah, no one would be safe. Yeah, even the leader and the Titrons managed to go in and out safe enough. Yeah, they could have gone bitten a bit, so there wasn't so much plot armor. And yeah, thankfully, plot armor is something I've attempted to avoid. Might be a couple of luckier cases, but I guess we'll wait and see. But it's definitely a lot of cases of characters getting hurt, that's for sure. Nobody goes out of a battle without scratch. So yeah. Okay. They're taking their privacies at ships. Oh yeah, you recognise the ships too.
Mechajor would chuck in a cell and mind warp him via mind-altering technology, which is part of Mechajor's
Oh, also just suddenly seen unwanted Morphils. So is it like the the ones that aren't don't have as much of a community spirit? Is that what's been implied? I think so.
technological arms, making a Morphil a creature devoid of little emotion.
Oh, good to clarify, I suppose.
Back in the day, Pod's mind was so blank that he couldn't see that he was causing violence.
Oh, does he sound similar to Retron? Can you get very little because okay, where did he get the accessibility from? Well, if he fought in the same battle as Orpheus, surely he would get the same yeah, like get all sorts from Orpheus. Maybe it could have decreased because of Orpheus not being around, so that could have been another writing improvement in a way to connect the villains all together instead of just Nightfall. Yeah, oh gosh, imagine how all of these villains would interact and how they share their views and that. Oh, that sounds juicy. anyway, extra can get very it can only get very little because of accessibility. Although not sure what else is limiting the access other than being busy. Trying to find ways to use Nitro in various ways. Yeah, like I said, probably similar to Retron in that way. Imagine if he was more Nitro obsessed. That could have been similar, interesting, especially to Retron. Retron could have had like a crisis, being like, "Oh no, even the bad guys use Nitro. I better stop." Although even then, that stopped. He persisted with Nitro after, you know. Orphan being a threat, so yeah, that won't work.
And not knowing other Morphils were under the same lid as him. But as Pod sees, one Morphil fails to work properly in the eye.
Oh, yeah, the conics. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Um, oh, okay, yes. Imagine if the conics were like, oh, by the way, I made this big ship for the Titrons once, and then they're like, what did you say? And people are like, oh, um, I can't exactly dismantle it over there. It might be destroyed. I think that the Titrons have been there for ages, like out of their planet. And then Necron's like, they better hope not. Who knows? Yeah, they might need ships to replenish. So yeah, gosh. Uh, so yeah, it's good to clarify. Ow, just hit my elbow. Anyway, yeah, it's good to clarify that. Well, both things really. Yeah, where they get it from, and yeah, so they don't make it, and yeah, I quite like those bits and bobs.
Of Mechajaw, gets other Morphils. Tilda Chap. Tanran's only ship, and neither race knows they have the same shipmaker. These ships, Orca Flyers, can only fit 6 or more Morphils, but there are multiple, allowing any.
Okay, so it's good to hear what kind of well, what size these ships are, and yeah, the fact that there's still loads of ships. Yeah, we're talking about 6 times 6 times 6 times 6, yeah, like that. So yeah, I can see that being quite a swarm.
Morphils to swarm a planet compared to running on one massive ship. These ships.
Yeah, because compared to the Titans, because I reckon that with it's like different approaches because the Morphils have like loads of smaller ships which can probably make it easier because it's like replenished that way. Uh, um, yeah, what yeah replenished that way. So um, yeah, replenished that way. Yeah, so yeah, if there's like multiple other numbers, then yeah. But yeah, with the Titans, so they would have to protect the ship quite well. Yeah, that one ship, yeah, quite well. Although maybe the Titans are like confident enough to protect, that one singular ship, and um, yeah, they would have to like put it aside somewhere because even what was it? The uh, let's see, because yeah, do they park their ship on their planet? Well, I think they do hide it okay. And luckily enough, Retron doesn't hit the ship either because there's not. Yeah, they don't have any escape pods. Oh yeah, because they have some, don't they? Because of Fletchers, but it would even Fletcher coming to Earth. But yeah, sorry, we're just puzzling myself. Sorry. But yeah, it's an interesting difference. I guess it just goes to show if the Titrans should have had multiple ships too. But I think the Titrans are a bit more of a peaceful race. Yeah, they don't want to like swarm a planet. They just survive. They just arrive all at once. Yeah, because they're quite grounded. The creatures are, yeah, and yeah. So I like more feels and so yeah, it's just a difference in the approach. We can, yeah.
Are like a caravan with a shorter roof width, made up of blue, white and black. And even
Like similar size to a caravan, yeah, not literally a caravan like the ship pod used.
have a metallic Morphil face at the front to evocate fear toward.
Evocate? Is that a word? Did I quickly give you the dictionary? I'm quite curious. Evocate. To summon or call. To call fit. No, that's the wrong word. I probably meant to put to emphasize fear or something, which it's not a bad idea. I just feel like it's not like the best. Well, maybe if I can see Mechadraw being like, oh, the Morphals are here, and you can tell because of the um, because of the Morphal faces in front of the ship. So I was a bit mixed at first because it's almost like a cheesy trademarking, but if it could emphasize fear, then fair enough. Fear towards the public. Anyway.
Any public. But then, Mechajaw slowly goes to Pod. Both have not seen each other in a very long time, about 50 or more years. These creatures do have a long life after all.
I was just wondering about the ship description. So does that mean did Pod like see the ships? Has the ship's not been updated for a long time? Is that was that do you see the ships in action for a bit? I was just wondering. Anyway, so Mechadraw and Pod are seeing each
Mechajaw
other.
is curious, but Pod is eager to
Uh,
and even have a metallic Morphil face at the front to evocate fear towards any public. But then, Mechajaw slowly goes to Pod. Both have not seen each other in a very long time, about 50 or more years. These creatures do have a long life after all.
50 or more years. So, oh, okay. So, all right. So let's help a bit. So that's half of the time since the war happened, and yeah. So Pod left 50 years after, and then 50 years later, so he must have gone around the galaxy, and he must have hanged around Earth for quite some time. I think that's the the version I got. So I think it's okay time wise. It just meant that Pod just had a lot of time going around space between leaving the Morphals and leaving Earth, and arriving on Earth. So it's a so yeah, I was just trying to think if there was any problem with that, but no, I think that's okay.
Mechajaw is curious, but Pod is eager to rip him apart. As they catch up, the emotions don't change, even Mechajaw knowing that Pod is a different.
Gone. So being curious, yeah, absolutely. And also, yeah, Mechadraw. So they're almost like, well, I won't say swapped because Pod has never been the curious type, but Pod is acting more antagonistic this time. So yeah, okay. Curious, but Pod is eager to rip him apart, but as they catch up, the emotions don't change. It's perfect armor Morphil, yeah.
Kind of Morphil, actually, one that was specially created to absorb one element. Mechajaw.
If Mechadraw was like there for a while, he might have caught on about what the let's see what his creator was intended with Pod. He might have found I don't know, like documents or heard a conversation about it. It would have been nice to be specified, but anyway, and but it's also good to clarify that with Pod as well because. Because if he has like the trident that has one element, it creates the question, if these elements were quite dangerous, how come he could absorb them? But if he's designed to absorb one, then that's where this book could be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's all right then. And so yeah, it just so helps answer that question. It's like all more set up for the rest of this book as well.
Would like to get rid of Pod. And so, the Morphils do have a massive fighting sport as practice, and later, they will do this again, but with Pod acting as a punching bag, and so
Yeah, I think the Morphils often practice against one another, and they're hoping that Pod could be defeated by multiple Morphils. In fact, if Mechadraw wants to get rid of Pod, why not have him like chained up and then let the Morphals practice on him? That could have been one idea, but at the same time, I think Pod would have broken out of the chains considering the power he has, because he would have unlocked it anyway, because because what was it like his own strength and will to some of the power within himself after spending so much time with the trident. Yeah, I think it would just take it a bit longer. I'm wondering how he went from relying on the trident to then being able to summon the power on its own. I'm just wondering, yeah, how that is about. Although at least Book 5 does explain that, after absorbing an element for quite some time, you can, summon the power within yourself, after a while. So yeah, so I think that's how that kind of works. The whole thing about the elements allowing others to have power, that's more of a clarity I want to make in the reboot, as opposed to those kind of rules here. But yeah, and it also creates a question because because Mechadraw could have joined in later on as well to make it harder for Pod here. Is it stated that Mechadraw wants the Morphers to go against Pod first to reserve his energy? Was that the case? Only to be like, oh, better do this myself. But also, why not do the mind manipulation first with the technology? That didn't get addressed, unfortunately. Anyway, so massive fight.
Mechajaw gets his Morphils to get everything sorted. Mechajaw also saw his Morphils ravaging through the ship.
Gets his Morphils. Yep, so he would have created like some kind of announcement. He could have used a communication spell for that, or I don't think he has a megaphone, but he might be allowed enough to shout. Who knows? Yeah.
Pod arrived in, and this is where the
So Dimikador also saw his Morphils ravaging through the ship. Oh, okay, to have a look. Oh yeah, that's where they found the GPS technology. Oh yeah.
Morphils came across the Green Ape's GPS technology. Pod left it there because he thought he might lose the technology.
And so yeah, even this reason about the GPS, it's somewhat reasonable. I guess it's like choosing, like, would you, risk losing it on your person in the middle of the fight, or risk losing it in the ship that hopefully Pod hid in the ship well, and probably even hid in the device well. Like for instance, underneath like the floorboards of the vehicle, you could say. Hopefully, P at least did that. So. Yeah, this is like a fairly okay attempt at plugging the plot hole. It could be debatable, but um, although if I did go for Pod hacking the GPS, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm just not sure what's like the better choice. I feel like even on the ship is still like the better choice, and regardless, like the Morphals would have priced off this person like they did price it off the ship anyway. So yeah, and so they have the GPS technology, and oh god, yeah, they're going to be up for a lot of mischief. Oh yeah, because I think they do. I think do they hop from one planet to the next kind of casually to be like, oh, we know specifically where the Titrans are at. Let's go and sort that out. So yeah, this is where the Morphers come across screen its technology. Would they recognise the technology? Like, how much do they know of the outside universe? Yeah, that I'm not too clear actually.
More likely when fighting the Morphils compared to where he attempted to hide the ship, knowing that the Morphils would be
Hide the ship, so even despite like a description, so at least there's an attempt to hide it. So okay.
more interested in him. Pod also hid his ship in a rockier area around.
Yeah, because yeah, if a Morphle comes up, I can see a lot of attention being brought towards him compared to yeah, the the ship could have been seen and then waited till later, but if it's hidden in any way, then okay.
Around the edge of the land, in an attempt to hide it.
Oh, we are giving descriptions. Sorry, I'm phasing out. Okay. Well, fair enough.
Mechajaw has a look at the GPS, seeing that it is very easy to use, even finding out where the title.
Yeah, I guess there was like wondering, what it this like, but if Google Maps is easy to use, then I can imagine this being. Although, is there like a search bar for a certain planet, or does it show the entire planet and you get to pick and choose? So how you use it is sadly not described, but if it's easy, then okay.
Rands are one of the Morphils.
Is there no passcode or password to apply? I guess that should have been something.
biggest foes. Considering what Zion thought.
Yeah, that is set up in book 3, so it's kind of cool to see that carried over. Yeah, because whilst the Titans and the Morphils, conflicts, it should have been expanded upon with more detail, but at least it's something, because I do like we have two massive fractions made up of the same race, and they're very against one another because because the Gratuities back in the war were gone, and then the Nitrobots had their own way of doing things, and even the rest of Ironfall's race were gone. So yeah, they were like the two biggest factions, pretty much making it out of the battle. So uh, yeah, this is most likely um, rivalry that's formed because of the war. Because there could have been like times where they might have got on at one point. Maybe the creator of the Morphles was like, "Hey, Titans, do you like these?" And they're like, "Yes," and then they fall out. So yeah, that's just like ways that could have been possibly expanded. But yeah, at the moment, it's just perhaps a service level rivalry. Because what do they think of each other? There might be bits and bobs later on. I guess we'll see.
And others at the Deepar Fortress think of the Titanrans, seeing them as threatening no thanks to their connection to Livingar alongside other capabilities.
Yeah, it's not just vegetation. Looks like they know quite a lot about Livingar, especially if they're resurrecting extinct races using this, using whether it's the life force itself or other traces of it. And yeah, so it looks like the Morphers get involved with the Deep Fortress to this data point where they continue to get influenced by them, and then knowing that the Titans are still about. It'll definitely be conferred recently because of the goons still being alive. Because although I don't know, it's just because it would have made sense if the Titans were constantly evaded one after another, because those would have still been around on their planet if it's not been affected by the elemental wave 100 years ago. Um, and then so yeah, they would either have to keep go for that planet, and or maybe they didn't know that the Titans made it all this time and they've been focusing on other planets. But if my ultimate guide is made to this galaxy actually quite small, I just don't see why all the planets would have been checked this way. It just goes back to how the novel kind of makes the galaxy quite a huge place, but fortunately by making it small, it kind of goes against the size of the universe in this story. So there's a bit of a miscommunication. I could have made the guide even bigger and come up with even more planets and more races. It's yeah, because that could be like rather fun to do, but even with the stage I am at now, I definitely would like to focus on the reboot and set up what I would like to set up, and then if I want to come up with new races and planets without contradicting anything, then yeah. Because I thought because with the Titrans even being able to create custom races, and who knows who they could collaborate with to form other planets, yeah, I think it could be it could be a cool way to generate new planets races post Design for era almost. So yeah, I thought that was a cool idea. And so anyway, so the Deep Fortress connection and all involved with Morphils, so that carries over the rivalry even 100 years later, even with new Morphils coming about. So they all seem to have like a dislike for the Titrans, as it may seem here. And not to mention, the Titrans are definitely an example of the race that needed to go, because they have a good shot against Nightfall.
What none of the Deepar Fortress's lot yet don't know is that the Titanrans now have Livingar. They thought that Earth may still have two of the.
Um, the, the did it Kron not spy hard enough? I thought the Legion would have been carrying two things full of the elements, and they might have like paired the conversation about it. Unless were they maybe Ekron just only I don't know saw them from a weird angle and not seen the energy sources, because when they were threatening the Titrans, obviously they didn't have anything on them. But when the Legion then saved the Titrans from the goons, did they make sure to keep the elements safe in their ship? Alright, that's another book crew problem actually. Yeah, because you couldn't leave them on the ship. Like, what if someone from the Hashtu was like dodgy and decided to take both elements? Absorbed in the case and the absorbing machine. Like, oh gosh. yeah, because yeah, because if it even if it's like headcanon that Ekron dishonest still the individuals and not the machines being involved, but well that's headcanon, so that's not in the book, and yeah, I was surprised this whole elemental side of things didn't get addressed more so. It should have been more about um, just seeing the Legion and the Titans there. It's not a bad thing because the Legion you have to get rid of, but the elements are perhaps more important. Just grab them both and go. If Ekron spied well enough. So yeah, there wasn't enough detail on how whereabouts Ekron was positioned, what information he gathered. How did he even know the disguises were Titans? Did they use? Oh yeah, but there was the vegetation thing when they were brawling, nearly brawled one another. The Titans and Pod. So. I guess there is that, but oh gosh, more problems with book 3 and I've just passed it. Anyway, so now have Livinga. Um, yeah, so maybe we'll just have to chalk it to Ekron not hearing or seeing anything about the elements, especially when they'll fight against Legion, and yeah, because they're all left. Yeah, they're all left, and then that's where the Legion are trying to got 11 goal back. So yeah, so yeah, I think that if that was like the case, then that should have been all addressed.
Elements. When Ikran was last in Nahashtu, he never
Um, yeah, because I guess with what happened to the cube storm, and if it was stopped, that would have made them think, oh, that means that if this massive thing was stopped by the Legion, they would have stopped whoever had this element, had this power, so they must have that on that possession. So that I can imagine them getting to that conclusion. But so same problem with Livigo, with the whole Nahashtu stuff. So once again, they're just not seeing the elements, and because it's at least stated in the book 3 that Slivrock never got around to explaining that they got hold of Ozona's power. So um, yeah, so it just looks like. Well, even if the Earth was battered too, but when did Ekron, etc., last go to the planet to spy on or update with Earth? Like, did they not updated themselves to the elements in that, they do still have a motor? That's correct. That's an assumption. But with Forza, yeah, I can still see, I can definitely clearly, I know why because of Sivrock not passed on information, but. I guess it's like they're like not a bad thought, like they might still have Ozona's power considering they defeated him. So yeah, and anyway, um, uh, and a deep fortress like no, that's just the other guy. They thought that Earth might still have two of the elements. Oh yeah, because Vibra's in the Trident. Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of a mystery. Oh wait, hang on. Did so Pod would have had some of his Vibra powers in the Nahashtu fight? Did the goons not say anything? Because if they said, "Oh, that's no reason why to constantly keep going for the Legion," and because they could have been like, "Where's Pod? He has, he might have Vibra in his Trident all this time. We don't know how, but he might still have it." Unless he just generally has those mix of powers, but at the same time, they all should know what an average morphle is like. Just the sonic punches and that's it.
heard anything about the elements, and from trying
Um, oh my gosh, I just went on a massive rant and okay, so I guess there's still problems of how did he not pick up or see anything, but if it's at least somewhat addressed then fine, but I don't know, I think a lot of my thoughts probably would still counter
to
this.
contact and wait for the others to arrive. He only heard certain information like who the Legion and Titanrans were despite the disguises. Mechajor knows the Titanrans also need
Okay, so yeah, Grant maintains his own space to, gather the others and to, sneakily appear on the hash too. So I suppose that's something, but that means conveniently going on and off. Like I think Ekron should have heard all of that exchange and then go and get hold of the others. I think that's what you should have done. But like maybe he was just so desperate to be like, oh my god, Legion, let's go and get hold of them, and then that's where Um, yeah, so it's just like another 2 date them down. And not to mention, if they were involved with Orphan and Zona, by getting them out of the way, they can probably get the elements more easily. Um, so yeah, I think it's like a couple of counters, but I don't know. I think I would have needed to build a much stronger base than this.
To be wiped off the map, and so on top of everything else, Mechajaw sends other Morphils
Yeah, if they're quite intelligent, then yeah, it's then yeah, I can see why Mechador would want to get rid of the other Titrons. Yeah, definitely.
to the Titanrans, providing the location. Even Pod hears this. Remembering who
So yeah, that's where the GPS technology becomes handy. So however it's used, to probably go, or maybe just go, I don't know, straight north, and then you'll encounter this planet, and then yeah, when we do get to the Titrons, so timeline wise, so when we come back to the Legion, you know, they're at the jungle, then the Titran planet for quite a bit, and then the Morphals start arriving. So I think it's almost like talked down to how long they'd travelled, but um, so yeah, I think Pod Fighting the Morphals was probably uh, around the time the Legion happens. And like, it would have been better. It should have been better explained. Which events happened simultaneously, but it could be quite. Or even if it is tricky to write, I should at least try by being like, meanwhile, during all of this Legion bits and bobs, Pod was doing this, fighting the Morphals in the meantime. So, yeah, writing some bits and bobs like that would actually help. Because not to mention, even Book 5 had like one case where it was explained that both the Life Force fight and the fight on Earth also happened simultaneously. So, yeah, because granted, it was. I think I extended spoiled it by saying, "Oh, the life force was lost." But anyway, this is what actually happened. I should have made it so that uh, maybe there is like this the vibe anyway that Side Force going to get the elements regardless. But I don't know. I should have still made it like, oh, meanwhile, on this Battle of Earth, this fight for the life force was still about. So yeah. Uh, anyway, yeah, let's just get going.
the Titanrans were, slightly scared that another race
Yeah, if Mechador was still nearby Pod, then okay. But yeah, it's not like Pod can't move or do anything. And I guess he would be like, oh no, the Titrons, although Pod doesn't have like the best connection with them. I think he earns the connection, well, or like at least tries with the Titrons. Um, but yeah, I think that's we'll wait to see about that. Because I don't think Pod like apologized, and vice versa during book 3. I might be wrong, but anyway. So Maringa, who's Titrans. Yeah, so Pod just clearly remember. Yeah, absolutely. So um, yeah, and yeah, Pod is definitely worried about them. But yes, we can imply it's um, yeah, like I said, yeah, Pod can't do anything about it.
might be close to suffering on a humongous
Although Pod should be like slightly relieved that um, hang on, sorry, still working it out. So I felt like it gets a bit slower. Sorry. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's just I wonder how Pod reacts when he sees Titran again, knowing that they made it and overcome the Morphils. So I think because he must have been kind of worried about that.
level. Even Mechajaw doesn't like the Titanrans because that race is not only smart, but they may bring more smart races back into the universe. Yes, the Titanrans may bring back other wildlife too.
Oh yeah, so an additional reason. Okay. Um, yeah. Wait, what's this? Um, cut.
too, but Mechajaw has thought of ways to do it himself if he ever gets hold of Livinga. But that is a thought for the distant future because he isn't always sure.
Oh, okay, so he has thought of, I nearly call them contingencies, but if he has had some interest in the elements, oh, that's where there was a moment where he thought he was interested in the lot, unless I was getting confused with Torrid, being interested in the lot, but I think, was there an idea that Mechajaw was open to any of the elements, but Vibra was oh, no, I think it's still stated that Vibra was the one he was the most keen on because of the whole water and ice kind of bits and bobs, and, but yeah, for Mechajaw to try and use Livgor himself or good luck with that, the Titrans have had centuries even of being familiar with the life force thing. So yeah, Mechajaw, good luck with that. Who knows? He might be near, like, maybe immortal, and if he keeps running on energy, but even then.
About what Xionthor will be planning. Mechajaw also thinks that the Titanrans are also trying to play.
Um, yeah, so I think getting the sign for out of the way might help a couple of it will just put him aside and make a lot of things easier to plan. And yeah, I think that's definitely one reason why he goes for when Mechajaw goes for Signfall later on. And but yeah, he said Mechajaw also has some ideas, after what's happening as well. So yeah, it's good to address these bits and bobs because sometimes villains, when they have, because I've seen stories where the villain's like, "Oh, I got this plan," but at the same time you're like, "Okay, well, if you win and succeed the plan, what then?" And then imagine if the villain's like, "Oh, I don't know, I won, I guess. Let's celebrate, maybe on my own." But anyway, like I said, it's a good part. Yeah, I think there is definitely not only some good reasoning behind some of their decisions in the story, but there are like some kind of cool highlights here and there. So yeah, I'm getting kind of impressed, but still some problems nonetheless.
God, taking advantage of a race which also makes Mechajaw itch with annoyance. Mechajaw encourages some Morphils to get going with the invasion to.
Yeah, so I think it's sad in his perspective more so. Yeah, and it's also good to build up, like some kind of rivalry between the Morphils and the Titarans. Although even then, maybe Carpor and Mondor should have. Did they have a moment against Megador at one point during the final battle? Something like that, because yeah, Megador could state those kind of reasons as he tries to fight them. Um, but anyway, so yeah, so that's just part of the mindset. So yeah, because does Megador want to? Because he has not outright stated, does he want to be, a ruler? Does he want to keep being a animalistic top dog like he has been with the Morphils? Does he want to be like, yeah, king or like a dictator of some kind? Because I don't think he wants to build his empire, but does he want to still keep the Morphils in one area, or spread them all across to keep an eye on wildlife that way? Is he wanting to interact with wildlife in any way? Um, yeah, could this also be another reason why he is not keen on Zionfall because of the kind of changes in law, but that could be contradicted about how Mechadraw would want to bring any extinct wildlife back when he has the chance. So I'm a tad lost again, unfortunately. Tatran's also trying to play God, taking advantage race. Although who would the Titrans take advantage of? Because once they've created their, like a race back from extinction, the Titrans, help them, get started, but then leave them alone once they're in a good routine. That's backed up by the comics and that. So yeah, I'm lost.
Towards the Titanrans, some of the Morphils are keen. Some are reluctant and the rest want to watch the arena, including Clam.
And some are reluctant, kind of get the gist. Yeah, fortunately, this doesn't stand out too well compared to the Stonos, which is a shame because the Morphils already seem more interesting and even more relevant too, considering the pod stuff. Um, so yeah, Clem's involved. Oh no, he's just watching the arena. Okay, so that's. Hang on, would you? Um, Okay, so I know you have Pod, to sort out, and the Titran invasion too, but is Megatron cocky enough to send some more Morphals thinking they'll win when he probably should have sent all of them and keep Pod chained up in the one room, and then he's like, oh, no, we'll deal with you later. Oh, actually, no, because um, have they confiscated the Trident yet? How do they yet know that the Trident has the Vibra abilities? Because if they messed about with it soon or had like a good investigation around it, then they could have been like, oh hey Mechador, there's Vibra, take it for yourself, and maybe we could go for the Titrans that way, and or drop off Pod at the Vranics on the same journey. So yeah, great. More plot holes. Well done, me. Well done. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes the older I get, I just kind of hate my past versions. Like for instance, I really don't like 9-year-old me who was constantly messing about in school, and 15-year-old me for um, I know being a bit of a loser at school. But anyway, enough of that. That's getting too personal. So yeah, first I want to catch up with area, including Cam as this happens. But yeah, like I know, like Ponies get sorted in his own way, but yeah, I've already addressed why this doesn't work. This split of the Morphos, because you don't need like even if there's like because there are like Morphos that do like fight trying to try to fight Pod on the arena, but all of them in the crowd. Because whilst it's set up as like a role almost, where any morpher from the crowd can just jump on the arena to try and fight pods, at least that's established. But how many morphers do you need there to, fight pod? And is there like still a good load enough sent to the Titarans? Is that the case?
As this happens, Mechajaw gets other Morphils to drag Pod to the fighting.
Oh, so the more reluctant ones are just sticking around here. Okay, so wait, so is Megador actually being like, do you want to fight this mistake of a Morphil, or do you want to evade the Titarans? Is he actually doing that? I suppose it's fresh, but I don't know. It weirdly splits like the story, because I know sometimes villains can have multiple things to juggle, but he still have a singular goal. Like even I was watched Rogue One recently, where like yes, director Krennic was getting like tied up with all sorts, like the Ursos, and and then he was worried about his position too, and he also has to find out bits and bobs about the Death Star when it could potentially be compromised. But he at least can see it's all in this singular goal about the Empire and probably about his position. But in here, yeah, the Megador's just like it just goes back to I don't know, because like yes, Legion. I can't say it gives the Legion something to do because it's okay. So yeah, when the Legion come to the Titrans, so they were like, "Oh, Titrans, hello, that's cool. The effects of the heal and the food." If Amy misses that friendship pop up point to probably needly leaving, then the Morphos come about. The Titrans are like, "Oh yes, we they trust you now," and then they also encourage the Titrans to be like, "Yeah, we better not stay on this planet. Let's go help out Pod and let's fight the Morphos and just deal with them, considering they attacked us. So yeah, we better get leaving." Um, but oh yeah, because but no, that's a bit no. It's like it's so weird because like yes, they don't know about Pod and the Element later, but Mercador is holding back. Like yes, he's fighting one of the Legion members, but he doesn't know the Legion are going to the Titran planet, and but this is holding back the Element quest. Like he knew about the Trident much later on by chance, because he didn't know about in the Element and the Trident being together. Um, but yeah, like Mechador just sends some Morphos to attack the Titrans. Like I suppose it is like trying to keep up his own goal to um, extinguish any races. And yeah, whilst the Titrans are a good decision from the perspective of both him and even Zythor, but it, I just thought the Zythor was like, just stop doing all of that and focus on the elements, if not the Legion. And even if he is going to, try and take down Pod, but he's still not doing anything about the elements. No, hang on, I take it back. Right, no, No, not quite, because they also don't know that the Titrans had living or either. So if I written that to be the case, like imagine if Ekron, etc. were like, oh no, I did find out that the Titrans do have living or could do something about it, only for Rektor to be like, oh yeah, I'm sending some more falls over there, but I've also got some fighting pod down here as well because I've got some more fills that are a bit split apparently. Well, I should be sending them off to the Veranic planet or mind warping them, but even then, and then because I could be like, why are you splitting Immortals in that way? So yeah, this story is just not working as well as I thought.
Arena, now that is it prepared. Tilda chapter 53, Pods catching up. Back at the Morphil
So that's how he's getting transported. He's just getting dragged. Yeah, just yeah. He's probably carried with everyone on the arms and legs. Yeah, I watched. I'm not sure if you've heard of Police Interceptors, but there was one guy who needed probably more than 5 policemen to arrest a dude. I think he had to be carried, especially with both his arms and legs tied up.
planet. Pod wakes up in a cell, wondering what is about to happen. But as he wonders,
Oh, occasional platforms surrounded by waterfalls. Okay, so there is some variation to the arena. That's good. But not to mention Pod being able to move about the fire and ice and water. I think that at least helps with the arena.
Pod has a good look outside of his cell window,
As in the decoration of the arena, sorry.
well barred up, using Netro. But even then, his arms are chained up at a point where he is
A special chair, that makes him I feel like a royal, unless well, I suppose he doesn't want to sit with the um, with the lower life forms, I suppose, just sat on the water when he probably has a comfy chair. Or there's the chair with him comfy.
stuck to a single spot, no touching the wall.
What does this chair look like, actually? I never thought of that, but yeah, Megatron isn't like I said, he's animalistic, but yeah, I can't see him with a chair. That's like a royal thing.
Walls or even the floor. But even then, it has been so long since he last saw his race.
Okay, so they are getting um, yeah, all the morphals in um, hopefully communicating both about the Tatran attack and the finger in the arena.
And not much has changed. They are one of those races which like to practice combat.
Oh yeah, so it looks like not every morphos have been told about it immediately. But they're like, hey, there's this alternative morpho. If you want to see us fighting, then yeah, by all means, join us. You can even have a go. And yeah, I can imagine some morphos being proper, uh, yeah, like quite interested about it at least. But should have all been gathered once the word is spread about how there's like an intruder and those who went around the ship as well? It just goes to show, like, I don't know how big this planet is either.
Often. They still possess the same fighting style as Pod used to start with before the Legion gave him extra tips.
Yeah, I think that was hinted at earlier. Yeah, he's not only protecting himself, but reserving energy too, especially if he's on his last, yeah, as it said, yeah, last peak to meet in Obsidian. He has like more of an excuse compared to Zine 4, because Zine 4 can take better damage even, because although what the story could be implying is that, Zine 4's like, just if I make myself, as injury free as possible, then I can, make it easy to sort out the elements. But he could probably be punished by waiting for that long and not doing as much by, with Mechador gaining the element and then hurting Zymfor. That could be like a way of Zymfor being like, oh, gosh, and if I didn't leave the others to do it, then I probably would have had an element and I wouldn't have got significantly hurt in that way. But yeah, it's not really addressed as that. Even if it is like, it could be like a neat idea for, Molag and Zyvor to be like, oh, I probably should have been more involved in the first place because, just Mechador's just robbed an element from me. How am I going to get it back, especially when he's hurt me this much? How am I going to adapt the elements afterwards? And hopefully that injury or Zyvor hasn't been completely forgotten. I remember that it gets healed once he recovers all the elements, but yeah, I just hope it's addressed because, I think that injury is meant to really slow him down. But yeah, but anyway, I do like the similarity between Zyvor and Mechador in that way. It's like one thing they have in common. They're just as, yeah, pretty much as bad as each other, encouraging others to do the work.
Aside from their abilities, these Morphils sometimes like to relax, swimming through the rivers or the massive chunks of water in the air. They often
Um, yeah, I can see that being reasonable.
Often play board games made up of stones. They also enjoy working together to build stone shelters for new Morphils.
Yeah, that's like kind of a purposeful reason for Mechajaw. I think maybe this. Oh my God, do I make Mechajaw like the main character? You know, he has like a reason to postpone himself fighting wise. You know, but he could probably try and focus on as much upgrades as possible. You know, probably with the help of Orpheum, that could be a cool idea for the reboot.
And they also focus on getting new Morphils to enter the new world. The more pro-Mechajaw Morphils get their new Morphils to be as vicious as possible, whilst
Um, he was near areas where there might be. Where does he get the obsidian from? I'm a bit lost with that. Does that mean obsidian could have been close to where the Dwarfs were living, but turns out there wasn't? Unless he was just looking for any other equivalent. Was that what that meant? Anyway, I do like the justification for, you know, why go for the jaw shots, but if the jaw shots were similar, well, no, simple, then, yeah, because, yeah, Mechadraws still does, you know, like a fair amount of fighting, but we can probably imagine, like, the Morphos do most of the work, and Mechadraw will only attack whoever goes, like, too close to him, for instance, so, yeah, I can, that's not explained, but could be inferred, and, um, so yeah, it's good to justify that because yeah, I think Mechajaw all this time probably goes for like lower, like less powerful kind of foes.
the kinder Morphils try and get them to have an open mind. But this often
Oh yeah, so that's something he's planned ahead of time, so that helps. You know, just a tiny bit of setup for later on. So it does so the decision he makes later on isn't arbitrary.
leads to clashing. Even Pod managed to capture a conversation about the
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's an interesting thing because if Pod's been out and about, he could have been learning all sorts. So yeah, I like that being addressed too. Um, yeah, that's actually rather smart because often times the fighters like, oh, let's see what the fighter style is like as they're fighting the opponent, but this time, so he's going to watch, so he's going to watch carefully. That's actually kind of a cool thing. Like even if he is animalistic, so he still pays attention to fighting moves. I quite like that.
fact that if Mechajaw was to be taken over, then a Morphil has to let Mechajaw know that a Morphil wants to be.
Or probably stick to you know, the crowd. Um, yeah, okay. So it's just adding more to you know, who's more keen, etc.
A leader. So Mechajaw will allow a challenge to fight him. But no wonder not many Morphils ask for this.
Yeah, there's no one at a time kind of rule, so yeah, I can see why. Yeah, the rules are somewhat flexible. Um, so yeah.
Role because Mechajaw has always beaten all of the Morphils that have wanted to challenge him using the.
So yeah, basically, it's you know showing how he uses his fight moves and as well as his elemental abilities, and he does you know these moves he learned from the Legion, which impresses the Morphals. And once again, the Morphals get divided, being like, you know, some will think, oh, you know, he's rather cool, and others think, oh no, Mechadraw's still the better leader. And there was quite an interesting debate about it. Like, granted, it might have been needed to be expanded upon more, but if those reasons are explored, then I reckon that's still good.
Arena. Nowadays the arena has been used for practice. And even Mechajaw doesn't recommend this request because he is planning to be the leader indefinitely.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's the kind of fighter style Dion taught Zami as well. So yeah, we definitely infer. Oh yeah, because they did teach one another and may have continued to do so after book one. So yeah, and yeah, I can see Dion with that fighting style because you know if he tries to punch anyone, it will accidentally hurt them more than that actually, way more than that. So yeah, I reckon Dion would move anyone aside to whoever's trying to get at him because if he moves someone else's momentum aside, it means that they don't run into him and they could avoid broken bones.
He mainly takes these challenges to show the other Morphils who are boss. The arena is a large circle surrounded by waterfalls with clumps of rock from place to place. Even a lot of spare water for the Morphils to crowd around to watch the arena.
Yeah, because sometimes if you've been with the same fighter style for so long, it could be like, oh, although everyone could only teach us so much, but so sorry, it's just some TV in the background. Anyway, um, but yeah, I think because yeah, sometimes yeah, if you've been taught a particular martial art for so long, that's where you could be like, oh, I don't think there's more to this, is there? I feel like they can fight it well enough. But but yeah, it's like a similar case here where they're like, oh my gosh, there is like more martial art moves. That's kind of cool. Because yeah, they could have still experimented with their own fighting styles, what else they can do, but this is definitely like different territory because yeah, I don't think the likes of Mechatroll would be like, oh, push, throw someone else's momentum away. You just probably go straight for them because yeah, even Pod's fighter style is somewhat aggressive, almost like a kickboxing kind of style, I can imagine.
The arena is also grey and blue with a Morphal silhouette painted all over it. To add to that, Mechajaw's presence is enough to stop some of the
Um, no, the Legion helped add to this, not will add. No, that's wrong.
Morphals fun, any misbehaving or hints of mind evolution. Mechajaw would chuck in a cell and mind warp him via mind-altering technology, which is part of Mechajaw's technological arms, making a Morphal a creature.
I feel like the spinning kick is what Morphals might have learned, but you never know. Maybe they were just more of a boxing type rather than kickboxing. So yeah, but yeah, spinning kick, yeah, that could come from Taekwondo most likely. Yeah, and but yeah, who learnt from Mike? So yeah, it's just that because I'm not sure if it's been stated before that Mike, taught Nicole martial arts, but at least we do get a confirming part here. So yeah, it's just going back to how Mike was like the first building block of the Legion, and yeah, I would really like to emphasize his legacy in the reboot. After he does sadly go.
Devoid of little emotion. Back in the day, Pod's mind was so blank that he couldn't
What I said about Mike earlier, yeah, so yeah, Mike sadly, is no longer around at the end of this book, which yeah does give the which yeah makes the Legion yeah reach a Neva blower point. Anyway, Pasnos fighting tips too. Oh yeah, two ice batons. So yeah, he's going to kind of use his yeah. So I think so. Pod seeing Clan, was that enough to? Oh yeah, because Pod was trying to go for killing blows but didn't. But was did seeing Clan, was that enough to make him think? Oh, I don't think all of them are that malicious. And even when looking at them outside, wait, hang on. If Pod was watching Morphos outside playing games, so was that meant to be seeing that, oh, they are like a lot smarter now and not all of them are malicious? Does that mean when Pod used to be part of Mechatroll's clan at the time, 50 or so years ago, were they, at like more out like animals, without the games and that? Is that what the story was somewhat implying? Because whilst it's not stated here that and Pod's not going for any killing blows at the moment, but maybe he is just like proper defending himself here. But by creating ice batons, they're a offensive tool, but not a blunt weapon. So yeah, he would have formed hammers if he wanted to proper go for the Legion. But at the same time, with batons, he could translate Epasnos' fighting skills that way. And yeah, I really like the exchange of fighting moves here. I just wonder if that is ever experimented with later on in the story. Even if I like to emphasize that in the reboot, I would just have to be like extra careful because I almost feel like, well, if for instance, in the Cobra Kai show where you can really see how some characters, pick up moves from others. It's just, because that's like done through stunts and of course filming people is actually rather easy. But when in this 8-bit style of mine, I just wonder how that could be translated enough. Maybe like tidbits like teaching each other and then see how they interpret other martial art moves. Yeah, that could be something to think about.
see that he was causing violence and not knowing other Morphils were under the same lid as him. But as
But he doesn't. Pod doesn't have three hands. Oh, unless did he form one ice baton and then he's tried it in the other hand? Is that what's been implied? Okay.
Pod sees, one Morphil fails to work properly in the eyes of Mechajaw, gets other Morphils to take a broken
His fighter style only to be specific. Yeah, we already gone over how that's not like the best kind of mindset to have, but it's really helping him now, and it actually inspires you in some of the Morphils. And I think Pod must have had glimpses of others being reluctant or being amazed by his skills, which they should show like a variety of personalities all these Morphils have. But I feel like maybe it's like later where when the Morphils like stop fighting and they stop jumping on the arena. I think that's Pod to have where Pod has a moment of, oh, I'm inspiring these beings. Because because I think at the end of book 4, did he think that the Morphals will all like stop fighting, especially Morphals being about? But when he sees more of them in book 5, although did he know? Oh yeah, surely they would have seen the Morphals like leave, implying that they might have had like their own peaceful life, and probably just and chill around like in it. Oh, I don't know. They wouldn't be that chill if they were protecting Megatron's body. But they also talked about keeping up the fighting skills as well. So I guess it's still carrying the theme of, no Megatron tried to make us what we didn't want to be, but we still want to, be capable of protecting others, and we protect this form of energy. So I'm a bit lost about that at the moment, but hopefully we'll get answers about that later on.
Morphil to the planet of the Vuronics. With Pod not knowing what happens on that planet if unwanted Morphils are taken.
Yeah, because I don't know, he got on well with the others from time to time, and not to mention Dion too. He had a couple of moments of connecting there. Um, so yeah, and so he tried to keep the leading out of his head for him to allow him to move on, and he seemed to be quite independent, facing the Morphils on the road, and trying to keep Arvin out of his mind as well, as to try and help him concentrate, because no, that's might have about him from time to time, but it's like he's using everything he's learned and come to experience, and then putting it all into his fighting, which sends a slightly positive message. So yeah.
There. Pod also sees that the ships used by the Morphils haven't changed, made up of a mixture of metals, strong but not as strong as Netro. Mechajaw can only get
Even if you're just even if you're like inspired by other fighting skills, you can still find your identity, as you learn to fight. Like even when he was just using the trident and the ice baton, like yes, that was carrying over Plasmos' own fighting skills, but he made it his own, and with the variety he has, it just means more fighting options and how he can use it. And at the moment, he seems to be more of a defensive type nearly, which it's that I also really like. But because just because you're gathering skills from other individuals doesn't mean that you're outright copying them over. You do form more of your own identity as you gain more abilities. Although I'm saying that as like a loosely kind of thing, because we've all had in fiction, there's cases where characters sometimes gain too many superpowers at a point where they no longer become individuals. So it is just hitting the right mix. But this is just martial arts, so it's a much but it can be mixed nicely compared to superpowers where if you do give a characters too many ability, that's where you could be like, I don't know what to make of that hero.
very little because of the accessibility and still trying to find
which is another part to the message, which is nice.
Ways to use Netro in various ways. These ships were also made by the same race that helped make the Titanran's only ship.
That's probably like a thought that he's had quite some time, I imagine. So by already being familiar, you can counter the Morphos in all sorts of ways. So he's using these new skills to counter, the countering the fighter style he has been the most familiar of.
And neither race knows they have the same ship maker. These ships, Orca Flyers,
kind of repeated, although good to be clarified,
can only fit 6 or more Morphils, but there are multiple, allowing any Morphils to swarm a planet compared to running on.
That he kind of did earlier, but maybe what should have first been stated is, that Pod wouldn't know, how to fight them, especially with what he's thinking of the Legion. But now he's been more flexible with how many fighting moves he's given himself permission to use. That enables him to be more of a creative thinker, and so yeah. Although maybe I don't know. Maybe I feel like if he's driving the Morphers against one another, maybe um, it is just being more familiar with the Morpher fighter style at first, but maybe it shouldn't be written here because he has a variety of other methods he can use. So yeah.
One massive ship. These ships are like a caravan with a shorter roof width, made up of blue, white and black, and even have
What's that repeated there? Oh, I don't know. I feel like complete bits are being repeated. Um, Never mind. Um, but yeah, it's got like a small reminder, and yeah, and then we can see how their own tools at their disposal can work against one another. And yeah, the trident's better.
a metallic morphal face at the front to evocate fear towards any public. But then, Mechajaw slowly goes to Pod. Both have not seen each other in a very long time, about 50.
Oh, okay. So looking at the window was a setup to this part. Okay, that's kind of cool. Anyway, so yeah, so he is taking it easy. Although the drive like what the sonic punches against the other morphals, that still sounds detrimental.
or more years, these creatures do have a long life after all. Mechajaw is curious but Pod is eager to rip him apart, as
Armies that evading planets has been repeated far too many times, haven't they? Yeah, I should have done way more creative twists. Like for instance, in the idea for the alternative book 3, Sliverrock could have just been a menacing force of his own, with like turrets instead of yet another army that can think. So yeah, like walking turrets almost, or even like a robotic army even. Oh, I don't know, I've done that with the Morpher with the Nutribots, but they were living at least. But anyway, living beings do live their own lives. Um, but yeah, I think there's been case of the story being accidentally repeated too many times, which is a bit of a shame. I think Zeinfort nearly had an army of his own because, oh yeah, because on if I can find it, there was this drawing like a card character thing that I've done. It was almost like representative of like this very version of the story, well before the reboot, of course. And yeah, they're all in the sections. Primary Legion members, additional Legion members, main villains, goons, and different types of armies. And Xyphors had this like this race that was made out of biological matter, almost like living vegetation, almost, but they were represented as kind of gross creatures, and those gross creatures were called snudge pigs. And yeah, I've made them up when I was younger, and because whilst a lot of my acquaintances have liked my creativity from time to time, but when it came to the snudge pigs, they're like, you know what, that's actually like a rather cool, like menacing set of creatures that you came up with. You should use them as like a story idea. And I think there might have been an opportunity um, if Zeinford did want to create a yet another army, but but we've already had that repeated loads of times. And yeah, because Zeinford could still do it because he had living coin at his disposal. But hang on, was life generation a limit? That I'm not too sure. Um, because yeah, even with the Titrans generating life force, even that's taken a while, which emphasizes how it's taking like forever to get these extinct races back from the dead. So yeah, my point is that we've had too many armies, which bits and bobs have been kind of repeated, unfortunately. Anyway, so whilst all these morphers as beings who do live their own lives, perhaps not always keep planet of nonsense. And yeah, Pod using this power wisely, I can see that being inspiring too. Actually knowing how to use the power you possess.
they catch up. The emotions don't change, even Mechajaw knowing that Pod is a
Oh yeah, not actively burned. So yeah, I think that's what Ecuador does, later with Zine Yeah, so there's definitely a difference between how they both use Vibra. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how else Ecuador uses Vibra in more destructive ways. Like, granted, there is the flooding, so that's already a big deal. But even Pod, he does have all sorts of creative ways against Mechajaw. Like, I remember a whirlpool he creates with loads of icebox inside, which completely keeps whacking Mechajaw. So you could see that as maybe Pod being so over the top with his power at the point where he accidentally becomes like Mechajaw to fight Mechajaw himself. Yeah, I just wonder if there is like a attention to detail of the abilities they use. And I'm not sure I've mentioned this before, but as I'm personally quite a big fan of ice and water-based powers, I think whilst I will work on how fire powers are utilized, but I've kind of struggled recently of how to apply fire because you can probably read these books thinking, fire has not been much of a thing in this entire story, and it's also the same with rocks and crystals, because those were always part of the elements too. Well, granted, I don't think rocks and crystals have been mentioned much in the story either, so fortunately a lot of hours have been left out. But I will explore, they definitely explored a lot in the reboot. But unlike the other powers, like rocks and crystals, fire is already part of Pod's a massive resume of abilities. Resume, is that the right word? Like a collection? Anyway, and so yeah, because fire can be very useful as like a long range set of attacks, or even an attack that um, that could like if wanting to do active harm or some kind of environmental destruction, then that's why fire could be useful. But actually, I think my favorite thing about fire is the explosive side of things, because on another stream I was talking about a phone video game I like called Drag and Boom, and and the way the dragons can produce a variety of fire powers and how explosive the fire seems. That's what I quite like about it. Um, but yeah, there hasn't really been many cases where Pod needs to be explosive. So I guess there is like some duties with the explosion of fire, but it can definitely do a lot because my fire is also quite malleable. It can be long range, can go along ground. Um, and it can like spread as well, so it's useful in that regard too. It's like the story is unfortunately doesn't allow enough opportunity to um for fire abilities to be in use. So yeah, because I say, because instead of flooding, what if Megajaw did do like a massive wildfire instead? But I think he would have gone for water because him and the Morphils can go along with that, especially when invading Earth. So yeah, like I said, I'll do some more fire ability research and I'll try and find ways to show that off. Yeah, because if it's meant to be fire, ice, and water, then there you go.
different kind of Morphil, actually, one that was specially created to absorb one element. Mechajaw would like to get rid of Pod. And so, the Morphils do have a massive fighting sport as practice, and later, they
I feel like putting Morphles and eye blocks is kind of cheating because they're like, oh no, I can't move, and then Bod's just like, yes, free hit to the head because I don't have to worry about any incoming arms. Bit of a cheat, but never mind.
will do this again, but with Pod acting as a punching bag, and so Mechajaw gets his Morphils to get everything sorted. Mechajaw also saw his Morphils ravaging through the ship Pod arrived in. And this is where the Morphils came across the green.
Wow, we have a whole heap of abilities. You can like imagine it being a montage, which it actually kind of sounds rather cool. And not to mention, like when was the last time the Morphals ever fought someone with the powers of ice, fire, and water? Maybe the elements on their own, but even if, the way Pod can use these elements in ways that are quite creative, even possibly with the Legion's help, it just makes more the Morphos go at a disadvantage. But if they've got rid of the definitive race with the fire, ice, and water, um, then that would have meant they haven't fought against anyone with these kinds of abilities in a long time, so they're almost like out of practice. So there could have been like some idea about how to fight anyone with any type of power despite lacking power yourself. That too is an interesting concept, but it just looks like Mechador is just only teaching this more violent way of fighting, just a bit more hard hitting.
Ape's GPS technology. Pod left it there because he thought he
Oh, minor, but okay. How minor? I don't know. That still sounds so tad malicious. Even if if it fits minor, then fine, but even then.
Might lose the technology more likely when fighting the Morphils compared to where he attempted to hide the ship, knowing that the Morphils would be
Um, yeah, I guess well, if it was like the more malicious Morphils, going after him, then I guess that makes Pod, try and be like, oh, I'm, even with a lot of power, I'm still wise from my power, and like you, like just throwing, your punches at me, not exactly going to go far, unlike me. So I think that's the kind of vibe it's kind of stated at the moment. But yeah, because it is the Morphals who are more keen don't fight Pod. So yeah, because I think they must be won over by Pod quite quickly, I can imagine.
more interested in him. Pod also hid his ship in a rockier area around the edge of the land, in an attempt to hide it. Mechajaw has a look at the GPS, seeing
Oh gosh, yeah, they comply with both the innocent and the more aggressive ones. So yeah, it's almost it's like Pod losing his way because of how angry he was with the Legion, and so yeah, I think it's like a moment of him being like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? These Morphals, they could have like potential to be like another good clan, and yeah, actually, what does because even if the whole armies and bad guys, kind of aspect has been repeated, at least the Morphals stand out by wanting to continue to fight and to be um and use it for a good purpose because the Netrobots were destroyed, the customized Stone Nose were destroyed, but with Stone Nose they would have simply put aside, not getting involved in any more combat. But for the Northals to be inspired by Pod at a point where they want to continue for fighting for good purposes and for defense, then yeah, it's like a good twist on things. Um, but yeah, I can imagine why these Morphals might be a bit unhappy with what the lifestyle is like. Yeah, because even when they're playing games, they're on edge because they have an absolute monster of a leader.
that it is very easy to use, even finding out where the Titan Rands are. One of the Morphs
Okay, so you just like hold back a bit and um, yeah, and keep his yeah, so yeah, just to go on easy on them. So it's like almost like went too malicious and need to be a bit more friendly with them, which is good. Yeah, because you would think that he probably goes easy on Mechajaw, but I think all this time, if Mechajaw has been the problem and kind of set up to have to go, especially considering how artificial and like a feeding key is, yeah, I think the story is implying that yeah, Mechajaw can't really be redeemed. Yeah, because um, yeah, it's because because we all know about the Legion's kill rule, but the but the bad guys obviously had to go to stop all of these crazy schemes, and um, and but yeah, and Mechadraw is just they're definitely like a part of it because yeah, Mechadraw even wants to go for Mechadraw. He might have like spared him during this arena fight, but considering the flooding he does later on, yeah, Mechadraw definitely had to go because once again by um, by killing the cast speller, he killed the spell too.
Phil's biggest foes. Considering what Zion Thor and others at the Deepar Fortress think of the Titan Rands, seeing them as threatening no
Yeah, so it's just yeah, I guess he does wonder, oh, what if I lead them, or if they just simply have a life of their own, I reckon they could be a lot better. Because yeah, it's just now talking about how yeah, it was just Mechatol that's the problem, not the Morphos as a whole.
thanks to their connection to Livinga alongside other capabilities. What none of the Deepar Fortress
Yeah, that's some setup. Oh yeah, because I think yeah, if he's been constantly spoiling it from the tridents, then yeah, that's definitely one thing. But if he's probably had like different feelings of being like, oh, I actually came from my body this time, then yeah, there is some setup. Yeah, this is like some setup for later on. When he's able to form vibra bits and bobs on his own, and it looks like that slowly transition because when we first met him, he just had the trident on its own. With a couple of hints that it could control or spawn ice and water, etc. And then yeah, the Tingers give him some tips. Pod was able to expand on that even thanks to the Sotters. And but yeah, with more familiarity and more exposure to the trident, it's now able to spawn it himself. So I quite yeah, it's a fairly okay set of progression because yeah, when we next see him in book 5 and probably the end of book 4, he's he's pretty much like the next generation Vibra, pretty much embodied, personified.
Tracy's lot yet don't know is that the Titanrans now have Livinga. They thought that Earth may
And that was also, uh, paid off from the setup earlier that his body can intake one element. Because, yeah, that's like a load of. Oh, yeah, I've already talked about what if scenarios. If Pod was able to spawn one element, what would he be like with the other abilities? Yeah, because Living Gold could have been like an interesting possibility. Because imagine if like the Trident would have been probably still safe with Vibrant's died, but what if he accidentally took both? I think uh, he might have adapted to both slowly because although yeah, like I said, I haven't come up with the elemental gods allowing the abilities, up until the reboot kind of era, but yeah, I think Pod would have probably not survived in taking both elements if they're not meant to be attracted to this man in the first place, and if he can only intake one. So yeah, for instance, if he did land on a similar time to Livinga, then he would have been more. Yeah, because imagine if he spent like a lot of time with it and then he gained the abilities that way, making the Trident more like a tool. Because if the focus has been towards Livinga, then um, it's like the Trident has no need to expose its power if Pod already has an element at his disposal. But imagine if he tried to push it for two elements. Yeah, that could have been interesting. But anyway, I'm talking about alternative stories because this one's, just fine.
Still have two of the elements. When Ikran
Well, not fine, but the premise, it's totally fine as it is. It's just having fun with other ideas.
was last in Nahashtu, he never heard anything about the elements.
That's a bit of an odd line. There must be something in his genetic code. That sounds like a straw man sneaking into my story. Oh, must be something in his genetic code. So, um, yeah, I'm not too keen on that line, but it should say it's because like the genetic code, etc., within his body to enable this. So, yeah, that should have been explained by I don't know, like Mechador later on, not a meta line.
And from trying to contact and wait for the others to arrive. He only heard certain information.
Yeah, like the Trident still can act as a good tool. It's a metallic tool and a strong one at that, so it will still be extremely useful to Pod. And by keeping the Trident, it kind of helps keep the power to himself almost.
Like who the Legion and Titanrans were despite the disguises. Mechajor
Is that um as in just this generation? Oh, I say like if the elemental wave, for instance, did wipe off all the Morphils, off the planet, but Mechador managed to spawn a whole load more. Because yeah, if the elements were all like spread across, then I could see how the new generation would have not seen any elements in action. I would have seen various races with different abilities, but not an element as a whole. So if that's the reason, then fair enough. But yeah, I think book three, once again, it's just showing cracks about because yeah, I feel like everyone should be distinguished from the planet. Maybe some, I don't know, luckily getting a couple of I don't know. I just felt like the wave would have sorted out everything on that planet first and then gone outward into space because I don't know why didn't it go for the Titrons? They managed to sneakily get hold of the life force and try to get hold of Hermota and they didn't getting hold of Vibra. So yeah, it's rather odd. Unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway.
knows the Titanrans also need to be wiped off the map, and so on.
Cut idea, Dion, Hermota, next gen, like Pod with Vibra, Scape perhaps with Livinga, etc.
Top of everything else, Mechajor sends other Morphils.
Oh yeah, so yeah, he can definitely be seen in both both sides. Some think he's inspiring and others think he's a threat to them. Because it could be because no Pod could suddenly turn again by being like, oh, actually no, he won't turn again. But I think some Morphals could worry that he could be lured into a trap where Pod could be like, oh, I'm going to take on all of you. So maybe some of the Morphals are quite cynical of him, but I feel like that's the mindset that Pod would have had before, but definitely not now if he sees more to them.
To the Titanrans, providing the location. Even
Oh, yeah, there you go. McDonald's worried about power and such, himself and his role in that. So yeah, he has just the right amount of insecurity, but he still has the viciousness, especially when next time we see him. So yeah, it's good to have more variety of emotions in a villain.
Pod hears this. Remembering who the Titanrans were, slightly scared.
Oh yeah, you would have to think rather carefully. But yeah, because it's not just the power, it's the martial arts as well. Like, gosh. But Mechajaw kind of cheats because of the whole mind stuff. So I'm kind of curious to see how Mechajaw cheats, after the cheating. Well, not, I don't know. What do you call it, cheating? Because the rules seem to be, fairly open. Well, I feel like the mind manipulation is definitely cheating in some way. But if Mechadraw's like the rule of his own planet, then yeah, because he's still animalistic. He doesn't go by the most strict of policies. He's still animalistic in his ideas.
That another race might be close to suffering on a humongous level. Even
But of course, he wouldn't be keen on Pod, and would also think that as well. I feel like that's a bit too outspoken and too blatant, but never mind.
Mechajaw doesn't like the Titanrans.
Who knows yet who is more powerful than the others, especially as the Trident's power seems familiar. Does that mean Mechatron's wondering who's more powerful, himself or Pod? It always is Starfall coming in the equation. I'm going to take a step back, actually. Possibly seeing Pod as threat against
Wonder
them.
what he could do against Pod later. He is not keen on Pod, possibly seeing Pod as a threat against him. Who knows yet who is more powerful than the others, especially as the Trident's power seems familiar.
I made a couple of guesses. I'm still a bit lost.
Mechajaw also remembers Pod being one of his assisting Morphils, mindless and...
Yeah, I wonder if it would be nice to see what else, Pod did for Mechajaw despite not having enough agency. Yeah, I would have liked to see that a bit more explored.
pushed around like the others. The only thing different about Pod at the time was the color. He was blue, not grey like an average Morphil. As the
Oh, okay, so yeah, so it looks like so wait, Mechajaw didn't know about what made Pod special other than he had a different colour. Is that what it came down to? Well, I suppose he did probably destroy the lab and his creator, so I guess he didn't know. But yeah, which I think is fine because yeah, okay, yeah, I can't really see any problems. If he's just learning about these bits, then fair enough.
fight ends, the Morphils either give in or surrender, and after some thought, Pod does
Surrender's like the wrong term. It's more so of we'll yeah, nobody else is going to have a go fight against him. Pod, you won. You've got the arena.
show mercy, meaning he won the fight. Intriguing Morphils. Compared to Mechajaw,
So Mercy has not been much of their way around things. Okay, yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, because so the Morphals must have been so malicious in what they've been taught at the point where they probably don't know how to spare lives. Because the Legion, as we've seen, are very. Because even if, for instance, Book 2 was like overly a bit complicated with who to spare who with the Stone Nose, or the Stone Nose, but yeah, with the Morphals, I think it was just like a kill or be killed kind of situation or mindset that had been thrown upon. So yeah, for Pod to do that, because you never know, the last Morphal he was trying to fight, maybe he, as it said, show mercy.
who is far more animalistic and often keen to throw his weight around for the sake of it, while Pod seems to use his punches in a more calculating way. Mechajaw
Yes, I think it's just you're just comparing the two of them, whether it's Pod's mindset or not. Yeah, and I think this is like one of the also like an indication about Mechajaw being animalistic too. So yeah, oh yeah, because I thought I talked about good times a few times before. As there's an art in fighting of martial artists, but there's also an art in fighting animals, like crocodiles or lions. If you ever get encountered in a situation, so that means if Mechajaw, is more of an animalistic fighter, then there's probably a chance. That's probably one reason why he's probably hard to fight because Pod almost struggled against Pale Wolf because not only because of the size of the creature, but with the claws and teeth. Like, yeah, it is a different, like style of defense, pretty much. Yeah.
Uses the same morphils to drag Pod.
That's something I just literally thought about. Imagine if I did like apply more animal, more like characters, with their own fighting styles, who makes them tricky to overcome at a point where, yeah, it is needing a specific type of art to overcome like various animals. Like Haywan, for example. Although Haywan's which is Hailwolf's second form. That animal. But despite how wolf-like it was in this particular version of the story, but in the reboot, Wolf is set to be a bit like bonobos. The similar to chimpanzees. They often travel on four legs, despite sometimes using all four. I think that's what Wolf's second form is going to be mostly like, and you'll see that what it's like when they first released the first animation. So um, yeah. Um, Yeah, it's just a change I just thought to state.
Off the arena and to his cell. Pod can understand that he has somewhat
Oh, well, yeah, those who still have a grudge against him, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's not all morphals are convinced. Probably maybe at the end of the story, but yeah, just still not now, because they'll probably see Megador as like the more effective leader. That probably, yeah, even Megador probably has more of a goal to go for, because even if Pod like becomes leader, but they're like, well, what is he going to do? So there might be one of the pros and cons addressed. We'll see what this debate is like.
won this round, and reckons he will be fighting Mechajaw next, which will be exciting. The morphils not only
Oh yeah, yeah, that will be very interesting. Although very split on, yeah, um, yeah, because yeah, like once again, there's just pros and cons on either Pod or Megador winning. Um, so when it gets to round, and yeah, okay, but yeah, yeah, definitely an inference where they can all make being like, oh, Megador could fight against Pod, finally a battle for the throne.
talk about one ongoing mission to go to the Titanran planet now they have access to GPS technology, but another topic would be who is
Uh, okay, yeah, so they just talk about the task going on. Okay, yeah, that's normal.
better, Pod or Mechajaw. A good few morphils are won over,
Should have a question mark, but never mind.
thinking that Pod, if he is to be the next leader, more martial arts could be shared. He could be someone who is far
I guess for those who were more keen on fighting, yeah, but the thing, Pod, we can see being like a good teacher, yeah, I don't think Pod will be, Mechador will be ever be willing to do something like that. And let's see. But yeah, also like, do all morphals still want to fight then? Well, I suppose if they're genetically made to fight, um, uh, then yeah, maybe that's yeah, like something else. Yeah, because I bet not. Oh yeah, but in book 5, yeah, there are like some morphals who go off to live peaceful lives because yeah, not all of them are keen on just fighting because they're probably are ashamed with them, like being genetically modified to fight in that. So yeah.
more approachable, perhaps someone who can provide other knowledge that Mechajaw cannot, especially as Pod has his powers. Some morphils have been so impressed
Um, but was that an extension of Khan? Hang on, he could be someone who's far more approachable. Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, if Pod seems more controlled. Someone who could provide other knowledge that Mechajaw cannot. Yeah, because yeah, Mechajaw isn't exactly a mentor. Um, but I don't understand the powers part. Um, yeah, because yeah, it's not like the Morphils will be taught how to use this power. Unless maybe I guess it is just like they're sharing other knowledge, about powers, knowing how to adapt to it. For instance, maybe that's what Pod could like share, how to defend itself against powerful abilities.
shared. He could be someone who is far more approachable, perhaps someone who can provide other knowledge that Mechajaw cannot, especially as Pod has his powers. Some Morphils have been so impressed by Pod's other fighting moves at a point where some of them try and practice the feats Pod performs.
That's a nice detail, yeah. Because if they like practice fighting, then yeah, I bet they're like, oh, let's have a go at this. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I can imagine a lot of discourse around that.
Something which will help with practice. Those who still think of Mechajaw as the definitive leader believe that none of them knows what Pod's intentions are.
Yeah, which is actually a rather good point because, like I said earlier, Pod could be like, oh yes, I got rid of Mistral, but now let's get rid of you lot. So baited you lot. Yeah, thinking, yeah. So yeah, there is that, and yeah, Pod hasn't exactly had the chance to say what his intentions are. I think he's even like kind of stuck because if he just found out that the Morphals were all good, and all he needs to do now is take down Mechajaw, then yeah.
And if he possesses a lot of skills and abilities that no other Morphil has, then Pod could be a threat.
I feel like that's kind of been repetitive, although just talk about, I think it's only been a threat to Mechajaw, but I think it's now been implied that it could be a threat to the lot, to which, yes, extension, I suppose.
To mention Mechajaw has formed a culture, making the Morphils strong and fierce, as they think Pod could be too timid. The way
Yeah, I think that could be another good reason too. Yeah, I kind of like these points. Like, even if some could be expanded upon, I still like both sides of being kind of reasonable. Yeah, because even if Pod won't continue Mechadraw's culture, it will still form a new culture, which could be scary and intimidating. It could be, although I don't think the Morphils care about a loss of identity. I think they're probably scared of change in some ways. So, yeah.
both their planets were represented and what they all do together. Pod could change.
Yeah, with the one they used to live in, and then this one. In fact, yeah, but because whilst in this story, so this is like the newer planet they're on, and they've quickly gone back to the old one when this one was getting fired at by Retron. But um, but yeah, why did they move planets in the first place? There might be like a reason. Maybe low on resources, was no longer habitable. Maybe they're getting too targeted by other races. They've also maybe gone for a planet that's more hidden because of being closer down to underspace. Yeah, I think that's well, those could be the reasons. But if that entire part's missing, then yeah, that's another shame.
Change that for the worse. Pod could stop the invasion of planets, which is a life that provides all these Morphils purpose and something which a lot of them.
Yeah, so even if it's negative, it's at least purposeful. It's like a goal to go for, which some of the more I was about to say trigger happy, but those who enjoy like the fighting and the evading, they could be like, if Pod stops that, then what now? But yeah, Pod will definitely explain that where you can just use it for defense. You still like seem to be capable of occupying his cells. I'm sure he can live life without invading. We can just use all that energy to defend rather than attack.
Do enjoy thanks to their sheer power.
And yeah, Pod doesn't exactly get the opportunity to state that. I think he would have if he won, but no, he doesn't get to. Yeah, because even in the final battle, he does quickly go through some Morphals without hurting any, but he just full on going for Mechajaw trying to find him.
Not to mention that some of these more.
Let's just go back a tad.
The way both their planets were represented and what they all do together. Pod could change that for the worse. Pod could stop the invasion of planets, which is a life that provides all these Morphils purpose and something which a lot of them do enjoy thanks to their sheer power.
So yeah, it's just like a power hungry thing which Mechajaw passed down to the others. So yeah, I can see. Yeah, it's just like a familiarity on my show, as I talked about earlier.
Not to mention that some of these more.
Let's just take a step back. Not to mention Morphals. That's still like the idea of the universe wildlife only. Oh yeah, so that's for those who still like or still into Mechajaw, thinking it could be a good path to peace. Yeah, considering they have witnessed consequences caused by turned foes. Okay, that should be expanded and specified because I don't know who. Yeah, because it just makes you wonder, like, has Mechajaw actually, like, other than intelligent beings created him and, annoying him with the experimentation on him, but what other consequences has he seen from those who are more intelligent compared to animals? Like, has he like I think something like that would work if, for instance, he did used to admire wildlife a lot, but then when humans or just any other intelligent race who got in the way, that's where McDraw's like, oh no, I need to properly stop this. So yeah, I think that's the best second fair, and then some of these both morphals end up. Oh gosh, so yeah, they're disagreeing between McDraw and Pod at a point where they're fighting each other. Okay.
These morphils end up fighting each other. Some beating up between them once they divide, but the likes of Clam, who is one of the biggest fans of Pod, do break it up, getting
Okay, that's good. So yeah, they're trying to get everyone. I guess just wait and see what's going to happen, or try and get everyone on the same side. Well, they just can't be doing fighting. I think they all need to discuss. The whether things are going to stay the same or change.
them to focus on either the upcoming Titanran mission or see who could win the next.
Upcoming? It hasn't happened yet. Okay. I did. I really hope McDraw doesn't hold a potential not only getting rid of the Titrans, but potentially finding an element too, whether they know about it or not. But I hope he hasn't delayed all of that for Pod. You would think that some of them have made their way. Anyway.
Next fight, Pod or Mechajaw. Pod is now
Yeah, that's pretty much the next point of tension what's gonna happen next.
locked up, and Mechajaw will see Pod later once he organizes the invasion of the Titanran planet. Pod watches
Yeah, which I think will be brief, and then he'll come back here because if he's sending the Morphils away, and of course we already know that Mechadraw is already staying to reserve himself. So so in the meantime of the Titan invasion, I think that's where you'll be seeing Pod, or should see Pod, so the story can actually keep going. Yeah, because pacing is a thing that doesn't really have a rule book, but it's just knowing how to flow your story consistently. And I've heard that one way to help with the pacing of your story is making sure all your characters are constantly in action unless there's a reason they've stalled, which would slow down the pacing depending on the story. But it would put here if characters are just static because they're off screen. But yeah, everything should keep going.
as he collects and even forces some Morphils to get going, seeing that some Morphils are reluctant to fight creatures some have never fought before.
Hang on. If I watch the collects, it collects in even. Oh, okay, this is Mechajaw. Just seeing that the Morphos are getting. Yeah, so once again, there are some reluctant ones. Yeah, we already gone over that. Some never fought the Tartrans before. Yeah, that would be interesting for them. Yeah. A brand new experience, and I think some Morphos might not be able to live to tell the tale about the Titrans, because maybe the Titrans see them as artificial, or something at a point where they might not be spared. Even the Legion might have to cross the line here if the Morphos are too dangerous. Yeah, I'm quite interested.
The Titanrans, making Pod see that it's not the whole race that is the problem. It is Mechajaw, the wrong driving force.
Yeah, he's finally come to that conclusion. Yeah, especially just seeing how reluctant a lot of them are.
For this whole race, making Pod want to fight Mechajaw and no other Morphil, and once he wins, he will lead his own life.
That does become the case, yeah, because the next fights include, just like Mechadraw, the Ranix, and even the Legion when he hasn't quite got the right head on. So yeah.
Life of peace and perhaps find Xyanthor himself. He has no interest in.
That's a good contingency plan actually, yeah, because he's not expecting to see the Legion or counter them or plan to, and but it looks like Pod's not intending to be the leader of the Morphos. I think they all just all want them to go their own way, and so Pod wants Morphos, no Morphos, and if it wins, leads his own life in peace. He might be on his own if he wasn't careful, but okay.
In leading the Morphils, they should have their freedom as he has.
Because you never really saw him as the the leader type, but yeah, if that's what he wants to do, yeah, because I think he still wants to stand out, be purposeful, but yeah, because he'll still have the piece he wants. He'll just let the the Morphils be and only get rid of Megatron because that's the only problem. So it's like a minor goal change, because he was going to go for all the Morphals, but now it's just Mechajaw. But I feel like, yeah, what I said, yeah, the goals are still intact and his motivation. So it's not, it's like a midpoint change in action, just um, yeah, just a change of mindset whilst continuing. I think that's probably one of the better way to describe it. Anyway, right, hop on to the next page. Alright, so this should be brief. Yeah, the Legion at the jungle.
Tilda chapter 54.
Um, Jungle's okay. I think they're meant to be trees behind them, which is okay. And I suppose the green background really emphasises how thick in vegetation it is. And yeah, that serviceman's lying down, them two are probably chatting to each other. Dion's got one serviceman upside down, and Sammy looks like he's kicking some guns off that serviceman as well. Okay, alright, let's see what this one's like.
The jungle. Later in the day on Earth, the Legion is going through a jungle, sitting in hiding, making everyone worried.
Um, yeah, I think they like to stay here overnight. I might be wrong, and this could probably still happen in real time alongside everything else. But I guess we'll wait and see. And okay, so don't know if the Legion's going through a jungle, sitting and hiding. So yeah, um, yeah, it will be quite tense. I can imagine, because you don't know what's going to come, and yeah, unfortunately, these servicemen end up coming about.
They too feel sore and hungry, making them more eager to go and see the Titanrans.
Yeah, because Titrans can provide both first aid and means of food. So yeah, because yeah, I can imagine the Dion situation being like rather tricky. So yeah, is my entry fine? I think it is. Yeah, I'll leave it.
Meanwhile, Dian is starting to sense more of his surroundings and start finding himself, but he
Yeah, cool. I've talked about alternatives, such as imagine if his mind was a lot slower. That could be either alternative ideas or what if scenarios. But him coming back to his senses quickly, it still works and it's still fine, and they do catch up well. And the story does make use of him having his full advantage back, especially when the Titrans criticise him. Because imagine if the Dion gets criticised and he's like, "I'm still just trying to catch up what's going on." So yeah. Anyway, and he has no flight. We already talked about why that doesn't make sense, but never mind.
also finds
But not being able to reach other planets, like he wasn't able to reach planets anyway, but to still not be able to help him, any of them, that does still add up, even if even if it's been a short amount of time.
out he has no flight, making him unable to help the many planets that could do with his help. The flight being unavailable for now was caused by shutting himself off. He
He did that before with Ozona, so yeah, that still doesn't justify it.
requires time to fully boot up after turning himself off. The Legion
So regardless of things not making sense, at least it will just take some time for everything to build up. So yeah.
wonders about his lack of flight, and once Dian provides the answer, they all agree that Dian can stick with the Legion. Dian cannot.
Oh yeah, because it's almost like obvious, but it's good to address it because where else is Dion going to go? Like if he could try to go for the serviceman, I think he'll most likely get fired at.
Help any planets yet. Dian also apologizes for all the havoc done to them, and he even sends
Yeah, even if he meant it like whatsoever, it's good to just to apologize anyway.
a message to the president digitally to apologize for the havoc. Dian describes
Okay, that's a nice thing to do. I'm not sure if they might see each other face to face in book 5, I think, but once again, that's good. I wonder if the president tells Retron about this or if that ever gets accounted for later on. So at least it's nice from Dion, but does it actually follow through somewhere?
the situation earlier as if someone else had control of him. A small part of him knew none of this was right nor in his control. Dian is one of the
Oh, okay, so that's just describing the state he was in, which is a rather good to explore right head off.
Wisest beings around. He can be trusted with the
Yep, absolutely. Seen that loads of times.
power he has, and it goes to show what he might have been used for if Torrid got his way. Every time they hear Torrid,
Oh yeah, like being forced to do all sorts of shit. Like, gosh, yeah, that'll be horrific. But at least and once again we definitely wise with his power. Yeah, we can find loads of evidence of that. He doesn't like to destroy land. That's how careful he is. So yeah, um, yeah.
it makes their stomach drop, knowing what he has done to the Legion.
Oh gosh, that is So yeah, it's a name which is quite hard to listen to, and yeah. Yeah, I can see because there's sometimes it is like normal to like hear a name and go, oh gosh, because it would just remind you of all sorts. Um, so yeah.
Something which they can all share despite the issues. However, the surroundings that
Um, Knowing that what he's done to the Legion, something which they all can share. Oh yeah, so yeah, they can all probably talk about their experiences. How they how their lives could potentially be ruined. No thanks to what Torrid has potentially done to all of them. Getting rid of Torrid. The fight was hard and Dion was temporarily shut down. So yeah, even Dion shutting down is almost like partial foreshadowing for later on. Like imagine if Dion was gone during a hard time, it would be really tricky. But thankfully, when he does go, it's more of an era of peace then.
Iron consents consist of some servicemen discovering the Legion, and so the servicemen start firing at
If they have been on one spot, to rest, then I suppose I can see why. Uh, because it is just looking for them with the eyes, even if the jungle is tricky. So yeah, and so yeah, it's just reasonable enough.
the Legion. Each Legion member uses cover while firing their projectiles back, projectiles which will only stun the servicemen. But the servicemen do advance to try.
Yeah, because the servicemen, following Rectron's orders, very harsh ones, but the Legion, however, are going to just they're not going to, just because the servicemen are forced to kill the Legion, because of Retron, the servicemen aren't going to do the same. So it's good to maintain that because there are humans after all. Like imagine if it did get serious at a point where they did have to kill them, if times get that desperate. And it's a cool idea. It would be quite a lot to explore, but regardless, that's how it's sticking. It's because I feel like it would be a whole different story if the Legion have to cross the lines like that, but thankfully that's not really the case. So yeah, um, and so yeah. Anyway, how they're going to deal with the Legion?
Try and arrest them sooner, except they need to shoot Dian way more to bring him down. The Legion also
Um, Advance. Hopefully they're still shooting rather than closing the distance. And yeah, I suppose they would have to come in closer to mind the vegetation because how it can probably get in the way of the aiming.
sees that the servicemen are using fatal lasers, confusing the Legion, and making them think that
Oh yes, so yeah, seeing that would be quite tense. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the Legion probably could tell it's it even says right there, the Legion think it was Retron's idea, but they're still going to just take down the servicemen normally without taking the lives.
this is Retron's idea. They have to be careful. As the servicemen try and go up to the Legion
Yeah, absolutely. Like other than Dion, no one's invincible here, which because even Pod he can at least maintain or take a lot of hits, but no one else can.
performs a collection of martial arts which is enough to take down a serviceman but without killing them. Nicole tries to fight alongside.
I feel like it should be perform a collection of martial arts. Anyway, they would have to be very careful, to do in-person martial arts. They would have to ambush the servicemen a couple of times to disarm them up close.
Mike, but Mike tells Nicole to provide each other space. Nicole gets bothered by this. She nearly gets shot by a serviceman. She dodges it.
Oh, okay. It feels like a bit artificial. Like I know that Mike has never fought with the Legion before, and Nicole probably feels a bit insecure at the moment. But I don't know. I feel like she still would be quite independent, especially although her story was mostly about um, you just learning about the status quo of the Legion rather than how she could manage her own independence. So I guess it's like the theme still carrying on for her, but at the same time, it's still just discovering that her power can come from her own. It doesn't have to be from teamwork all the time, especially with someone as familiar as Mike. So I think that's what I was trying to go for, but still not too big on the idea. And for another case for Mike to be like, no, give space. I don't know, like Nicole can block the shield up for you, and you can do help each other out, with cover. So yeah, I don't know why Mike is suggesting that in the first place. Yeah, it's just like trying to force in the step of the arc or the theme.
Just in time and ends up fighting on her own while Mike goes to try and get nearer to Zami.
Oh wow, okay, she faster than lasers. No, I don't think so. But yeah, I think it's just trying to get a consequence of Nicole being um that yeah she does need her own space at this point because otherwise she's probably going to get herself distracted. So yeah, I think it's just trying to um yeah go. Maybe that's was the idea.
Zami is the most over the top in this fight, zapping the serviceman to no end, even using a form of lightning that is too strong. Diane
Okay, so maybe out of desperation, seeing that the serviceman's lasers are seen as like fatal ones. Yeah, I think yeah, I think that's why Zambi's going over the top, as he may have done with the the primary villains because of how fatal they were. So I think that maybe that's the idea with Zambi, but could be expanded a tad more. But at least there's some reference, maybe.
encourages Zami
Balls here, Mike is he has enough courage, and even just by being in the fight, he's to again just being like, please stop with the over the top nature, and he even tells them to start making a craft, which is a first sign of Zami needing to use his most powerful power to to help the others rather than always helping himself. So it's decreasing that cockiness to selfishness. Using independence correctly. And yeah, still going to the spaceship, and he will still be covered. So, well, like his back will be watched by others. So yeah, it is good to clarify these bits and bobs. And also the other lightning's too strong. So wow. So yeah, I don't think he's keen on stunning the lot of them. Yeah. Oh gosh, imagine if he did accidentally kill someone. These normal humans. Just only doing orders. Yeah, I think that'd be quite a complicated topic, and God knows what the consequences would be.
to lower the use of his power. Comparatively, Diane uses none of his weapons, only using his strength to disarm the servicemen, throw any of them or take them down carefully. Yes, the servicemen are aiming to kill, but Earth and humankind have
Oh yeah, so after seeing Pod use his skills, um yeah, you can see Dion using those skills in good use because yeah, because interesting enough, a lot of the time he's very much a very brawl fighter at the point where he's either throwing his weight towards or constantly shooting at Ozone or Torrid. But yeah, do forget you just have a couple of really good skills up his sleeve, martial art wise. So yeah, it's good to see that side of Don. Yeah, like what he like as a capable fighter. So yeah, just not use any weapons at all. Yeah, because I think any of his weapons could do too much damage.
been through enough, there is no need to kill them. Killing them would make things far more complicated than
Yeah, absolutely. It's okay. It's the best idea to not add to the dread.
killing other aliens, especially when the Earth has one of the strictest collections
Absolutely.
of laws. This is where Mike tells Zami to start forming a vehicle, and Zami decides to form yet another awesome
Strictest laws. Oh yes, seems to be the most intact lore-wise as well. So yeah, I could definitely see Earth being strict in that regard. Or um, sorry, it's just I was just hoping that the machine behind's been working. Yeah, I might double check actually. So yeah, let's just take a step back. So strictest laws, yeah, which is interesting considering they were in my final guide at the time, it had ozone as race being part of like the world that's also has like quite strict laws, but um but yeah, to have Earth to have the one to be made up of the most law, yeah, I can see um yeah, Earth still having the most strict laws. Yeah, like Earth has like most of everything. The most wealth, the most people, most vehicles, most variation in land. Probably the biggest planet too.
When the Earth has one of the strictest collections of laws. This is where Mike tells Zami to start forming a vehicle, and Zami decides to form yet another awesome atone considering how familiar he is with his ship. He
Yeah, stated earlier about how it needed to create another one. So yeah.
uses his cube abilities to start forming the craft while Diane defends Zami, with Mike and Nicole fighting the servicemen on their own.
Um. Oh yeah, so Dion helps Zami and Mike and Nicole got on with their own bits and bobs as well. So yeah, that's alright then. Okay. Yeah, it's just good to see what everyone is like.
Allowing both of them to be more focused. Mike, however, gets a painful bodily strain, making him kneel, and Nicole
Oh gosh, yeah, that is setting up something which we'll get to. But yeah, so even if they do have like a bit of focus on their own, despite keeping up for one another and teamwork still continuing, but yeah, Mike has a moment of weakness, and yeah, we'll like I said, we'll see how that pays off.
tries to get him up, but thankfully, Zami has completed the craft and starts it up. He even
Oh yeah, so yeah, that's right, good time. Yeah, we could just leave. And although, how do they leave the servicemen and avoid the fire?
Diane decides to use his machine guns lightly to
He even dying? No, just about that, without the P word in it.
scare the servicemen away, allowing Mike and Nicole
Oh, okay. It like yeah, he doesn't normally like to wreck land, but if he like shoots around, that's where he's like, oh, okay, yeah, they should get them to back off.
to get onto the craft, followed by Diane as the awesome atone starts rising from the ground and zooms away as the
And we couldn't still assume that Dion is making his own body weight lighter. Followed by Dion as the automaton starts rising from the ground. The serviceman's still continuing to fire, yeah, and yeah, Zemi can repair his ship, yeah, because it's very vulnerable, yeah, his power is. Alright, yeah, let's, and, oh, Mike's feeling better now, is he? Well, only for the time being.
servicemen try and fire at a craft which Zami can instantly repair using his cube powers. Mike is feeling better, saying it was a muscle thing, and they act on their plan to go and see the Titanrans. Not to mention they all
I think with Mike, you could assume it's like an age thing, because this is probably the most amount of action he's had to do in a long time, but um, most amount of action. So yeah, it's just it's like keeping you guessing, and it's making you wonder what the point of this is. But we'll get to it. But once again, Zamin's being criticised for it as well. He seems to not only Zami keep doing his actions, but he keeps being told off as well. So um, um, yeah, um, it's tad repetitive. Could be seen as artificial, and maybe Samu's just kind of pushing his luck. But I yeah, like there is a pattern, yes, but like I said, if you go that loopy, it could be seen as pure yeah, just like I said, a tad artificial.
Or criticize Zami for being the most.
And at least Sammy is getting like a slap in the
Tilda
wrist for what
chapter
he's doing this
54,
time, and he
The
could say,
Jungle.
"Oh, you know,
Later in the
if
day
they're
on
going to use
Earth,
harsh
the
power,
Legion is going through a
why can't
jungle,
I?"
sitting in
So
hiding,
yeah,
making
that's the
everyone
kind of
worried. They
I
too
think he
feel
probably would
sore
have
and
responded with
hungry,
some
making them
saying
more
something,
eager
but
to
yeah,
go
we'll
and see
see.
the Titan Rans. Meanwhile, Dian is starting to sense more of his surroundings and start finding himself.
Oh, okay, so he's trying to justify it. Yeah, I think this is also justifying some of his other actions even later on too. So yeah, that's the way because of how yeah, so he feels like quite on edge really, and yeah, and I think he doesn't know where to place his emotions, you know, how to control them, where to place them. Yeah, I can imagine it all being rather confusing for him.
But he also finds out he has no flight, making him unable to help the many planets that could do with his help. The flight being unavailable for now.
Um, yeah, I think yeah, even if he has learnt independence, I think it's yeah, just a couple of instances across the line, and it is mending other flaws of him in the meantime. So um, and yeah, can't rely on us at the same time. So yeah, he's probably become a tad more detached, especially with no Arvin and no Pod to bounce off that. And yeah, it's just everything's like really different. And you know, he seems to be trying his best. He's probably wanting to make himself like the powerful one. That could be like a bit of subtext because you know it's normally Pod on Dion that's more powerful. And yes, Dion is probably still powerful, but he has no flight still. So maybe Zami's like trying to overcompensate perhaps, especially with the lacking of number two. Um, so yeah, it's a cool idea that should have been hinted at as well. So that maybe there could be one reason, but at least Zami's trying to explain. But I don't think any of them really like that reasoning.
Was caused by shutting himself off. He requires time to fully boot up after turning himself off. The Legion wonders about.
Um, Fair enough. Yeah, I think Zami has been told off enough, and if he is trying to explain why he's like that, I think Mike is just like, okay, yeah, I think I understand. I think Nicole might should do, but at the same time, you know, her legacy's like falling apart, so I could see how she could still be frustrated.
His lack of flight, and once Dian provides the answer, they all agree that Dian can stick with the Legion. Dian cannot help any.
Um, um, Letting go of Nicole. I think letting go is too strong. I think Mike is. I think the best way to describe it is like maintaining distance, and actually, it is whatever what his condition is. That does emphasise why Mike is trying to get Nicole to be, you know, more of herself rather than an extension of the Mike. Because I feel like that's how she probably felt all this time, where you know, as it was Mike's idea, and Nicole is the more of a fresher and more talented soldier compared to Mike. Most likely, yeah, because you know she's helped fight like three universe-threatening aliens. Yeah, yeah, quite a lot of section, a lot of feats. So yeah, okay. Uh, yeah, I can see where they're coming from. I think that subtext we can still infer.
Planets yet. Dian also apologizes for all the havoc done to them. And he even sends a message.
I wouldn't say enjoy, um, but you know, I think it's just being like, oh, you know, we'll just focus on the Titans for now, and but yeah, definitely forget about Earth as well, because you know, if they're not going to get in the way, like they think it's not going to get in the way, especially unless they can lead the planets. But once Retron fires a missile, yeah, that does then become a big problem. So confusing the call in a stressful manner. Yeah, to help calm down the situation. So yeah, Dion's like the I think well, Mike knows how to control the situation, but it just looks like Dion knows how to do that too. Oh yeah, because one thing that I could have done with um, and hang on. So yeah, like even if sorry, yeah, so yeah, I did have like this one idea where because if, as you may have guessed, because of how much Dion is moving about, he never really gets to experience a normal life, and I think what's happening here is probably the closest he'll get. yeah, because you can like actually interact, etc. Which yeah is a which is a very nice idea. And um, so yeah, but yeah, I think the book 4 could have leaned on this more because, like I said, it's the most normal that Dion could be. Well, I say normal because he's normally zooming about, and as a robot, he doesn't have to make connections, but he does, and it has helped him out, and it's given him something to almost fight for because yeah, he's still an extension of the Legion. Um, yeah, in some way, despite how separate both of them are. But yeah, I think Dion probably extends, and he's probably like watched a lot of around him at the point where he could probably grasp a couple of cases of, or maybe let's dial down this argument because we don't want to do that right now, and he's just trying to be optimistic, which yeah, I think that's the best thing to do.
To the president digitally to apologize for the havoc. Diane describes the situation earlier as if someone else.
Oh wow, go Dion. Although I feel like Mike should be able to do all of this, like he could be the one to find to do that, because whilst it's interesting in Dion's side of things, while I stated earlier it was like mostly headcanon, so maybe Dion should have been the kind of character, he's still trying to get his head in gear, and and he's just watching the interactions around them, really seeing the idea of, oh my gosh, I normally like zooming all over the place, but now I'm just like sat in a ship for once, and yeah, who knows what's gonna happen? How much will I how much will I be able to connect with this lot? So yeah.
Had control of him, a small part of him knew none of this was right nor in his control. Diane is one of the wisest beings around. He can be trusted with the power he has, and it goes to show what he might have been used for if Torrid.
Yeah, I think this is yeah, he's going through his collabor, isn't he? Um, um, yeah, to like browse through these memories. But yeah, I like what everyone does here because yeah, everyone's just staying nice and calm, and yeah, mainly thanks to Dion's wording. Um, so yeah, Dion's just updating himself, and I think he does that throughout because yeah, like if he sits and still working, of course he is, and he's going to try and find out what's been happening at the time. All this time he's been shut off. So yeah, and even Mike. I think he's probably having like a moment of nostalgia, something to look back on because he's yeah, like just missing the old times, and yeah, things are really changing. Like things have already changed with the Legion being involved, but in the Retron, probably not aren't friends anymore, and the president's probably more on the Retron's side as well, which yeah, would really yeah, I could see that being quite upsetting for Mike. So yeah, I think that's like a good thing for Mike to look back on, and Nicole be wanting the rest. Yeah, that's fair enough. And what does Sammy do? Oh, he's piloting,
Got his way.
I think.
Every time they hear Torrid, it makes their stomach drop, knowing
Yeah, full soap.
what he has done to the Legion, something which they can all share.
I feel like they would be digitized anyway because this is the year 3000. Like it's still the future regardless. I know the whole 3000 thing is something that come up later, but it's still um still the future regardless.
Despite the issues. However, the surroundings that Diane can sense consist of some servicemen discovering the Legion, and so the servicemen start firing.
Oh yeah, so that's into more of Mike's condition, but yeah, quite like um, yeah, how Dion can sense like more specific parts because whilst I don't really understand, like know the full analysis kind of ability Dion has, but to sense that I think it's a type of danger after all, and so yeah, and
At the Legion. Each Legion member uses cover while firing their projectiles back from the prior two fights.
Um, Dances Mike, so both, yeah, Titans can heal, yeah, so that's fine. And then, yeah,
Going
absolutely.
back to Retron. He got his servicemen to hunt the Legion no matter what, even trying and find them out of space via vehicles or satellite activity, which
Oh yeah, so the Legion have like somewhat kept tabs on. I'm not 100% clear how they kept tracked with. Although, if they can contact each other, across planets as evident in Book 3, then um, yeah, I can see how the Legion can be somewhat tracked. Like, granted, they might should have ghosted themselves, which is what they did in Book 1, but well, like the Legion could have overcome it by hacking, but how many times could you overcome one another? Um, anyway, yeah, so the Legion are so it's no longer looking around space. If the planets, if the spaceships left the planet, then yeah, it's just satellite activity. Yeah, even the satellites all across various universes as well. Like if they all can are kept an eye on in that way, then yeah, I can see that being the case. Um, Space activity made easier decisions. Zami has helped. Um, oh, he has goes to the collabs. Okay, so do they? I guess we'll wait and see how the Legion got spotted, or did the Retron, or like the servicemen, did they say to Retron, "Oh, you found the planet of the Morphils. Um, shall we strike on them without knowing if the Legion were there or not?" Uh, yeah, maybe that could be the answer. So something like Clapters, even Dion. What? Zami managed to ghost Dion. Oh gosh, that's quite a feat. Wow, these cubes can do a lot.
will not be made easy considering
Also not knowing if the Legion left Earth already. Okay, so the Legion have eyes everywhere. So I guess I don't know, because you would see a planet leaving, so how would you still look around Earth just in case, or even just in case anyone starts still on the planet, as if the Legion was split? That could be something, but I'm not sure.
Zami has helped ghost all their collabtors and even Dian himself. Also not knowing that the Legion has already left Earth. Something which Retron prefers, makes him keener to use the planet-striking weapon, not bother.
Oh yeah, of course it does, yeah, because it's firing at aliens, and if the Legion are almost like traitors of Earth, um, then yeah, yeah, I can see that being the case. But yeah, I think Retron's just looking for like any excuse to get rid of them, and yeah, because it could be like Retron could try and justify it by saying, oh, um, you know, um, if it's probably to prevent another alien attack, hence why went for that planet. Which yeah, you would need a lot of justification for
What planet he will strike.
that. Oh, yeah.
When the president and other politicians later ask what will be done with the Legion, Retron lies to them, saying that they will be
Should be a comment after Legion.
arrested if they come back to Earth. Not
Um, Fair enough. Yeah, he's just really pulling the wool over everyone's eyes. I wonder if Retron did get counter issues later on, like oh yeah, Retron, we saw what you were going to do all this time. No, thank you. Or you two will be badly demoted for for what your intent was all this time. And um, yeah, and uh, I guess it's also like partially interesting as well, where Retron is still going to go after the Legion. Oh yeah, because Beth's at risk, of course they're going to still go for them. Because I think it would be kind of idiotic to be like, oh, left Earth, so I have all Earth to myself. And whilst that's true, he still wants to make sure that Legion are sorted out.
knowing Retron was keen to kill the Legion. He had come up with the
Um, yeah, because he was scheming of all sorts, but yeah, you would never think a soldier like him would go that far. Because like maybe with the enemies, yes, but not with he was previously alliance with.
idea of why the Legion had been killed by the planet strike. Retron can say that it was to prevent another Earth-threatening threat. Both the
Oh wow, I just literally said that. Okay, it's good to be confirmed.
servicemen as well as the president with their politicians have been sharing their thoughts about the Legion. Both are mixed.
Okay, yeah, that's some rather good exploration. I'll see what the debate is like here. Just wondering what the Legion's role is like.
Some agree with Retron, but others believe that the Legion can only do their best against significant threats. They are also not
Um, yeah, I can somewhat see both sides of them. Um, yeah, it's okay.
far from humans after all. But some servicemen have been
Um, yeah, yeah, despite being alien, well, unfortunately, there's other than like their abilities, there's nothing majorly human about them because when aliens like come to planet Earth, normally it's they have proper um when for instance the Ninth Doctor, the way he was like interacting with Rose's items, like the playing cards, and not always knowing what to do because he's still an alien. Yeah, it should be a bit more like that, really. Um, so yeah, but yeah, regardless, to still see them as just normal beings, normal individuals, just simply making mistakes which they can make up on and such. Um, so yeah, what else are they going to debate?
anxious that they are back in the forefront of security
Oh, okay, it's covering their perspective as well. Okay, so the politicians didn't get to have their perspective expanded much, but never mind. What's the serviceman?
again. No Legion means more pressure on them. Most
Oh yeah, yeah, of course it would add pressure, yeah, because to try and face some of the biggest uh like the biggest foes around, yeah, you need a variety of you know beings, not an army.
servicemen are even worried about losing their jobs to the new Retron defenses. Something which the president and
Okay, so it's being mixed in with defenses as well. So even if it's hopping from one topic to the next, I think there's still a partially unified theme in there. And even the placement of this is okay because if the Legion left Earth, there's almost like a case of, well, what now? And that's where everyone's discussing. Although, hang on, even Retron's saying that he would, he'll lie to the others when the Legion get back. He was going to sort them out. So they do know that the Legion have left then. So that's an accidental contradiction. Unless they're still looking around Earth just in case. Although they'll be looking around anyway.
politicians consider even if the defenses sound like a good improvement, the Legion still has the variety and is even able to leave Earth, which the new drones cannot do. So at the moment, making
Oh, the drones can't do that. Okay, I feel like they should be able to because it's miniature and robotic. But if not, then fair enough. I suppose it assists the stakes. Although, what makes the Planet Striker more adaptive is that more blazer or more missile base? Because I suppose the drones. I'm not sure. I just felt like that's a type contradictory too. But anyway, so the Legion variety has been addressed. Yeah, which is definitely worth mentioning. So yeah, so they still consider the Legion as an option. I feel like because the Legion failing the second time, I think that's why like, oh no, the Legion across the line, we're never going to forgive them more until they overcome the Signfall stuff. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before. I did find it quite an interesting idea. Like, imagine if the Legion, despite defeating Signfall, and knowing that even if the Legion have succeeded, they will probably just have to isolate themselves because they're still disliked, and they probably might never know what the mount did for everyone, even with or without um, the elemental wave. I feel like the elemental wave helps it out a bit because if everyone still dire, they're like, oh well, Legion, you're gonna have to do way better than this. Like if you got most of the universe threats out the way, then fine, but we're still at a massive low point. Um, so anyway, yeah, I think there could be a lot of expansion to this, but I suppose we'll wait and see. Um, still has variety. Yeah.
any space threat not reach the Earth next time depends on what the threat is. Even some from Earth and even other planets
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's numerous um, bits and bobs to consider. Also, not to mention, this debating of these points, I guess maybe they are like simplified to get us thinking. I think that's why they can be simpler manner. Um, anyway, but yeah, the yeah, there's just all sorts, because not everyone is a Psalm 4 level threat. There can be just like minor ones as well. So yeah, so Earth won't be in trouble all the time, whenever the Legion are on the forefront.
It's used to like the merchandise and what the Legion did for culture. But that diminishing does make the Earth go in.
Yeah. I can I guess that's a positive, like the popularity, and although that's like would that be classed as capitalism? Just like making money off like I said, the likes of merchandise and that. I felt like that's one of the least concerns. Like, yes, even if it did create like a culture and a way to unify everything, but um, yeah, like I said, yeah, it's just a weird point.
Into a time of insecurity, worried about the Earth's state with no icons to stand by. There is Retron, but he is old and has some questions.
I think Retron's trying to fill that position, but yeah, considering how high the attacks are, yeah, they don't really know. Because I'm sure there's still also celebrities, etc., who still inspire people to this day. Maybe even politicians too, but yeah, the Legion felt like proper significant figures because what they do, is to maintain peace on Earth, and yeah, so I reckon that the Legion are just a tad puzzled.
Questionable motives, the Legion is more flexible with what actions they do for others.
Oh yeah, so it is addressed, but yeah, he's not the inspiring type. I don't think he really knows how to do that. He's just like keen on like the goal himself, but he doesn't know how to present himself. It just kind of reminds me of me being like, oh, I've got this cool story idea, but I always don't know how to promote it because you have to be almost like a really good business person, like really effective with the schemes and that. And I'm sure I'll work it out, but anyway.
Whenever Retron's age is mentioned, he does get triggered, thinking that age shouldn't be an
Well, well, more flexible with actions. What does that mean? I get, it's like saying that Teratron's like very samey, but with the Legion, they do help. But they used to interact with the public too? Is that what that was? No, I'm not too sure either. Um, yeah, a bit puzzled.
excuse. Retron compares himself to the likes of Pod, who is
Oh, okay, so Retron's that kind of person. Yeah, but insecurities like that exists. Yeah, even I'm, insecure about my age. Yeah, because I'm at an age where I should be making significant steps, and yet I feel like I'm the only one in my entire education roster that's like stuck on one spot. But never mind, I'll be fine. But yeah, I think Retron just doesn't like because yeah, it must have been an icon for quite some time, and only to be at a disadvantage recently, especially with the Legion, with a variety of abilities, just more than humans, and so yeah, but yeah, I think Retron still just wants to be a figure, no matter how much time he has.
older than him, so Retron won't be having a retirement anytime soon.
I think Pod can take more damage and has way more abilities, even way more experience as well. We're talking about, I hang on, 50 years ago. Oh my gosh, wait, how old is Pod actually? Because if he left 50 years ago and he wasn't around 100 years ago, would he be like 90? Would he be slightly older than Retron? Well, in that case, they're probably at a similar stance. And okay, but yeah, interesting enough, yeah, Pod outlives every Legion member, which is evident by the. I'm not sure if that comic commentary is posted yet about yeah, the Legion. Yeah, we have Pod's just been the last survivor.
Tilda Chapter 54, The Jungle. Later,
Good for him. Yeah, he just wants to keep going, but fortunately, he's just misguiding himself. And yeah, because I think he, like Zambi, he relishes in his inventions a bit too much. Well, granted, he's not an inventor; he's like an idealist, but it's still his ideas, in action to make himself a top dog. So yeah, he's just continuing until, well, yeah, never stopping. So um, yeah, just he is that kind of individual. Um, so yeah, um, right. Yeah, I feel like the debate and stuff is a bit more often. I feel like there's a bit more explored almost, and I feel like that still helps make this book, you know, probably slightly higher than the others because it's not as problematic as the third one, filled with problems, but it's a bit more entertaining than the second one. Because the second one, like I said, it's like my first go-to for too much fat being added to the story. But anyway, yeah, we'll just get going.